Chapter 283. The real culprit behind the scenes. That's great. This was said by the personal maid by the side of the empress. Seeing Jiang Peihuan look at her, she quickly spoke up. Queen Cheng, please save the empress. Are you the personal maid of the empress? Ase has been my personal maid for many years. This was said by the empress. The empress saying this indicates that Ase is trustworthy. However, when Jiang Peihuan looked at Ase, her expression was very complicated. The sachet on the girl smells very good. I wonder what kind of fragrance is inside. Hearing this, all Ase's face changed instantly. In an instant, she pushed towards a nearby pillar. Ase reacted quickly, but she was no match for Xiao Nani. The man rushed forward, directly kicking Ase to the ground. She spat out blood immediately. Lying on the ground, Ase wanted to say something, but as soon as she opened her mouth, blood couldn't stop pouring out. The empress, seeing this scene, was stunned. It took her several seconds to recover, and then she looked at Jiang Peihuan and whispered, Huan Air, could the poison in me be related to Ase? The empress, having risen to this position, was never a fool. Looking at the scene before her, what else did she not understand? Hearing the empress' words, Jiang Peihuan moved her gaze from Ase and looked back at the empress, saying, The reason why your royal majesty feels headaches in autumn is because the scent from her sachet contradicts with Penailia, causing you to have headaches in autumn and fear the cold in winter. I've treated you well since you came to me at the age of 5. One treated you like my own younger sister. When your parents were seriously ill, one gave you money to see the doctor. How did one wrong you that you would betray me like the others? The empress looked at Ase on the ground and spoke softly. The empress' tone was very calm, but her eyes were slightly bloodshot. Hearing the empress' words, guilt filled Ase's eyes, but she remained silent. Seeing this, the empress was filled with anger. Now are you still going to protect your master? Why should the empress be upset over such a treacherous thing? In my opinion, throw her to the torture department. No matter how tough she is, can she endure those tortures? Hearing Xiao Nani's words, Ase trembled but remained silent. Seeing this, the mockery in Xiao Nani's eyes deepened, choosing punishment over admitting. After speaking, Xiao Nani directly drew his sword. As he approached Ase, there was a flash of light from the sword, and then Ase screamed, because Xiao Nani had cut off one of her fingers. Seeing this, both the empress and Jiang Peihuan showed no change in expression. Xiao Nani's patience had worn thin. He looked at Ase and said directly, You still want speak? As he finished speaking, another of Ase's fingers was severed. By the time Xiao Nani raised his sword for the third time, Ase spoke in a hoarse voice, One ill speak. Hearing this, Xiao Nani put away his sword and stood next to Jiang Peihuan. Seeing that Jiang Peihuan showed no signs of disgust or disdain, he looked relieved. Your royal majesty, the poison inside you was given by the madam. What nonsense are you talking about? Hearing Ase words, fury filled the empress' eyes. Without waiting for Ase to speak, the empress interjected. My mother has always been kind to me. How could she poison me? As if remembering something, pain appeared in the empress' eyes. Ase continued. Madam is naturally kind to you. But have you forgotten? The third young lady is the madam's biological daughter. Although madam is your aunt, between you and the third young lady, she naturally loves her own daughter more. If not for the third young lady being too young back then, she would have entered the palace instead of you. But as the third young lady grew older, the idea of replacing you never disappeared from the madam's heart. Replace? How does she intend to replace? Penailia is a chronic poison. However, any poison is harmful to the body. In at most 3 more years you will be beyond medical help. Before Ase could speak, Jiang Peihuan, standing next to Xiao Nani, softly interrupted. And the empress, hearing this, was utterly bewildered. Once, she had someone she deeply loved, but for the glory of her family, she decisively entered the palace. Although she was the empress, she had been schemed against many times in the past few years. However, when she thought of the people behind her, she gritted her teeth and held on. It was just that she had never thought that the person who wanted to harm her the most was actually the person she wanted to protect. How could she believe this? I'll say, seeing that we have been master and servant for many years, I will only ask you one thing. Does father know about this? At this moment, although the eyes of the empress were still full of pain, her face had regained its usual composure. Hearing the empress' words, Alcé trembled but ultimately remained silent, only bowing her head. However, when the empress saw Alcé lowered her head, the emotion she had just collected welled up again, bringing tears to her eyes. Silence means consent. So her father actually knew about it? Ha ha ha. Your Royal Majesty? The empress laughed, and as she did, she suddenly collapsed to the side. Seeing this, Jiang Peihuan hurriedly stepped forward to support the empress. After settling her on a soft couch, Jiang Peihuan quickly took out her silver needles. Inserting the needles into the empress' head, Jiang Peihuan carefully observed her complexion. After a while, the empress' head was full of silver needles, but she opened her eyes. As she was about to move, Jiang Peihuan held her hand. Please don't move, let me continue with the acupuncture. Hearing Jiang Peihuan's words, the empress didn't respond but lay quietly. Huan Er may first come in. Since it was the empress chamber, Xiao Nani stood guard outside. Hearing the sound inside, he asked softly, "Come in." Hearing Jiang Peihuan's voice, Xiao Nani walked in confidently. Seeing the exhausted empress, Xiao Nani looked at Jiang Peihuan and asked, "How is the imperial sister-in-law?" "She has a heart condition due to overexertion. I'm administering acupuncture to her. You should send someone to fetch a bottle of heart-nourishing pills from the mansion." "All right." After hearing Jiang Peihuan's words, Xiao Nani immediately turned and left. After Xiao Nani's departure, Jiang Peihuan lowered her head to look at the empress and whispered, "Your Royal Majesty, you must take care of your health. Think about the 17th princess. She's only 8. Without you protecting her, how hard will her life be in this palace?" Chapter 284. Xiao Nani's oath. Yes, I still have Jeune Heir. Jeune Heir was the nickname of the 17th princess, who is also the only child of the empress. Having been in the palace for so many years, the empress understands better than Jiang Peihuan how hard it is for a child without a mother to survive in this place. Most women turn fierce when it comes to their children. The previously despondent empress, after thinking of her daughter, had her spirits instantly lifted. Looking at Jiang Peihuan, the empress whispered, "Huan Er, did you say the poison in me can be cured?" "Yes. The poison in your Royal Highness can be cured, but since you've been poisoned for a long time, curing it will also take a while. No matter how long it takes, one can wait." As she spoke these words, determination shone in the eyes of the empress. Calculating the time, Jiang Peihuan removed all the silver needles from the empress. Upon the removal of the needles, the empress felt much more comfortable. If she had any doubts about Jiang Peihuan's medical skills before, this incident made her trust Jiang Peihuan completely. Looking at Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani by her bedside, the empress continued, "Nani, don't tell this to your imperial brother. Imperial sister-in-law wants to protect the Li family." "I'm not protecting the Li family, I'm protecting myself." Hearing the empress' words, Xiao Nani fell silent. After a few seconds he nodded. "Rest assured, I won't say a word." The empress smiled and turned to look at Jiang Peihuan. Meeting the empress' gaze, Jiang Peihuan said directly, "Your Royal Majesty, one can secretly work on the curing your poison. Huan Er, you've done me a great favor. If not for you discovering that I was poisoned, I might have lost my life." Jiang Peihuan could clearly feel that the empress was becoming more amicable towards her, evident from her address. Regardless of the empress' words, Jiang Peihuan simply replied softly, "It's my duty." But no matter what the empress said, Jiang Peihuan only replied softly, "This is what I should do." After today's events, the empress was emotionally overwhelmed. After a brief chat, she let Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani leave. Soon after, Jiang Peihuan left the palace with generous rewards. Returning to the Cheng mansion, Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani entered their room. Though she'd seen it for days, every time she entered the room, Jiang Peihuan felt as if she was back in the plum garden. "You've been running around all day, are you tired?" As she sat down, Jiang Peihuan saw Xiao Nani offering her a cup of hot water. Accepting the cup from him, Jiang Peihuan shook her head. I'm not tired. After Xiao Nani sat beside her, she looked at him. After one left, did the great Empress Dowager do anything to you? Jiang Peihuan distinctly remembered the murderous intent in the great Empress Dowager's eyes when she left the palace. While in the palace she couldn't ask, but now back at home, she couldn't help but voice her concern. Casually playing with his cup, Xiao Nani said calmly, in the palace she wouldn't dare do anything to me. For a while, she probably won't dare either. Why? Hearing this, Jiang Peihuan instinctively questioned, her eyes filled with doubt. Seeing her puzzled look, Xiao Nani briefly explained the matter of the great Empress Dowager having another son. Upon hearing Xiao Nani's words, Jiang Peihuan was utterly shocked. She hadn't heard of this matter in her previous life. Seeing Xiao Nani's calm demeanor, Jiang Peihuan couldn't help but say, now the great Empress Dowager probably hates you even more. Hearing Jiang Peihuan's words, a mocking look appeared in Xiao Nani's eyes. Even without this she would have hated me. Xiao Nani, when did you find out about your origins? Did Rong Emo tell you about my background? Seeing Jiang Peihuan nod, a complex emotion appeared in Xiao Nani's eyes. When the man remained silent, Jiang Peihuan also held her tongue. After a long time, Jiang Peihuan heard the man's voice. I knew about my origins from a very young age. Hearing this, Jiang Peihuan frowned. Xiao Nani continued. I think I was 3 years old when my mother told me. She told me that one wasn't the child of the emperor. Jiang Peihuan didn't know much about Xiao Nani's birth mother, only that she was the most beloved woman of the previous emperor. However, she couldn't understand why she would reveal such a secret to her son at a young age. Wasn't she afraid that young Xiao Nani might blurt it out? Or did she simply not care? Jiang Peihuan looked puzzled, but Xiao Nani's expression returned to normal. He looked at her and changed the subject. Tomorrow 111 accompany you to the general's mansion. Okay. The visit had been postponed due to Xiao Nani's poisoning. Thinking about the poisoning, Jiang Peihuan instinctively checked his pulse. After letting go of Xiao Nani's hand, she said, the poison in your body has been temporarily suppressed, but it's just a matter of time. I still need to find a way to expel the poison from your body. Take your time, don't rush. Hearing his words, Jiang Peihuan was a bit speechless. It seemed as if Xiao Nani didn't care that he was the one poisoned. As the night deepened, Jiang Peihuan lay down. The room was still awash in red. Even the blanket was bright red. It felt as if it was their wedding night. She didn't feel it earlier, but now lying on the bed, she realized she was now married. She was now a wife. Huan Er. Just as she was lost in thought, she heard Xiao Nani's voice. She turned instinctively, but was momentarily stunned by the sight. Xiao Nani had just finished washing up. His hair was loose, cascading down his back. He wore only a white shirt, loosely tied, revealing his collarbone. The sight reminded her of that night in the secret chamber of the Western Region Palace. Huan Er, I've never felt as content as one do at this moment. Xiao Nani was now lying next to her. As he lay down, he wrapped his arm around her, pulling her close. Leaning against him, she could hear his heartbeat clearly. Chapter 285. Returning to the general's mansion, the sound by her ear made Jiang Peihuan's heart tremble slightly. A moment later she spoke softly, Xiao Nani, in this life, as long as you don't betray me, I will always stand by your side. Even though her words sounded rigid, upon hearing them, Xiao Nani's eyes revealed a hint of a smile. He didn't know what Jiang Peihuan was thinking, but he understood that she wasn't weak like ordinary women. She was strong and determined. Just having Jiang Peihuan's promise made him feel incredibly contented. Turning his head to look at her, Xiao Nani whispered, one swear to the heavens, if I, Xiao Nani, dare to betray Jiang Peihuan, I will surely. Don't say it. Before he could finish, Jiang Peihuan covered his mouth with her hand. Their eyes met. The intensity in the man's eyes seemed to burn Jiang Peihuan, causing her to instinctively release her grip. However, he caught her hand. Holding on to Jiang Peihuan's hand, Xiao Nani leaned down and kissed her lips. The temperature between the bed curtains rose instantly. When he let go of the curtains, Xiao Nani used a palm technique to extinguish the candlelight. The next day, when Jiang Peihuan opened her eyes, the sky outside was already bright. By her side, Xiao Nani had already gotten up. As Jiang Peihuan was about to rise, she heard a knock on the door. "Your Highness, are you awake? Come in." The person standing outside was Yu Er. Walking into the room, Yu Er placed a basin of hot water on a nearby stand before approaching Jiang Peihuan to help her dress. With Yu Er's assistance, Jiang Peihuan changed into a moon-white robe. Jiang Peihuan didn't prefer overly bright colors. However, since she had just married Xiao Nani, she couldn't dress too simply, so she chose this robe. "Why didn't you wake me up?" While washing up, Jiang Peihuan asked Yu Er. Usually, by this time, she would have finished her training. If this continued, it wouldn't do. Taking the towel from Jiang Peihuan, Yu Er chuckled softly. "One initially intended to wake you up, but His Highness King Cheng said to let you rest a bit longer." Hearing this, Jiang Peihuan didn't comment further. Yu Er stepped forward to do Jiang Peihuan's makeup. Looking at the reflection, Yu Er said with a smile, "My queen, the king mentioned we're going to the general's mansion today. How about styling your hair into a mountain bun?" Usually, Jiang Peihuan simply tied her long hair at the back. However, things were different now. Hearing Yu Er's suggestion, she nodded. "Do as you see fit." With Jiang Peihuan's consent, Yu Er not only neatly styled her hair, but also applied some makeup. Jiang Peihuan, who usually avoided makeup, was naturally beautiful. Now, with a slight touch-up, her beauty made Yu Er stunned. After a long while, Yu Er looked at Jiang Peihuan's reflection and said, "My queen, you look truly beautiful this way." Jiang Peihuan had always known she was attractive, but looking at the reflection now, she was slightly surprised. The person in the mirror was truly her. Eyebrows and eyes were beautifully drawn, naturally carrying a hint of allure. "Quan are you?" Xiao Nani strode into the room but was taken aback upon seeing the person before him. When Yu Er saw Xiao Nani come in, she greeted him and promptly left the room. Thus, only Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan remained in the room. Xiao Nani approached Jiang Peihuan, his eyes filled with amazement. "Quan er, you look breathtakingly beautiful. Didn't you say we were going back to the general's mansion? Are we going now, or after breakfast?" "We'll leave immediately and have breakfast at the general's mansion." Jiang Peihuan didn't object to Xiao Nani's decision, and simply nodded in agreement. Soon the two of them got into the carriage. The previous night, Xiao Nani had sent Han Feng to deliver a message. So when Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani stepped off the carriage, she saw the entire Jiang family waiting at the entrance. Besides the old Madame Jiang, both Jiang Hong and Shui Yan stood there. Jiang Peihuan hurriedly approached to pay her respects. "Father, mother." Shui Yan took a moment to examine her daughter. Seeing the softer Jiang Peihuan compared to her usual self, Shui Yan's eyes beamed with joy. "Let's go. Your grandmother is waiting. Go greet her first." "Okay." Nodding, Jiang Peihuan and Shui Yan headed to the Chrysanthemum Hall. Meanwhile, Xiao Nani was surrounded by Jiang Hong and Jiang Changbai. The group cheerfully proceeded towards the Chrysanthemum Hall. Although old Madame Jiang sat on a grand chair, her gaze remained fixed outside. Not hearing any familiar voices, a hint of anxiety appeared in her eyes. "Haven't they arrived yet?" "Old Madam, be at ease. Didn't the Cheng mansion send someone yesterday saying the eldest miss would return today?" "Grandmother?" "Huan er, it's Huan er." Hearing Jiang Peihuan's voice, the old Madame Jiang rose from her chair, so abruptly that Nanny Su had to support her. "Grandmother." Upon entering the main hall, Jiang Peihuan saw old Madame Jiang approaching and promptly went to greet her. However, before she could kneel, the old madam held her hand. "It's good that you're back." Her eyes brimmed with excitement. "Grandmother, with eldest sister back, do my second sister and one lose our appeal?" Jiang Xijin, who was beside Shui Yan, said with a laugh. Following her, Jiang Ruyan chimed in. "Yes, now that you have elder sister, you don't cherish us anymore." "You two naughty monkeys," the old madam chided with a smile. After pulling Jiang Peihuan to sit down beside her, old Madame Jiang turned to look at Xiao Nani. "Your Highness, please dine with us before heading back." Grandmother, Huan Er and I haven't had breakfast yet. We purposely saved our appetites for here. This time, returning with Huan Er, I'd like to stay at the general's mansion for a few days. One hope you won't find us bothersome. Stay for a few days? That's wonderful. How could I find it bothersome? I wish you both could stay longer. Yu Zhen hurry prepare breakfast for His Highness and the eldest miss. Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani quickly sat down at the dining table under old Madame Jiang's arrangement. The Jiang family had already had their breakfast but sat to keep them company. Old Madame, bad news. While Jiang Peihuan was talking to old Madame Jiang, she heard a piercing sound coming from outside. What are you shouting about? Yu Zhen, go see what's happening. Hearing the commotion, old Madame Jiang frowned and instructed Nanny Su, who promptly went outside. Chapter 286. Jian mice giving birth. The noise outside gradually subsided, but Jiang Peihuan still heard the cries from outside. A moment later, Nanny Su walked up to the old madam. There was a hint of struggle in her eyes. Seeing the look in her eyes, old Madame Jiang said directly, "Speak up, His Highness King Qing isn't a stranger." Hearing this, Nurse Su stepped forward and whispered, "Old Madam, Madame Jian is about to give birth. She's only just over 7 months pregnant, isn't she? It seems she's going into premature labor." Upon hearing Nanny Su's words, there was a shadow of concern in old Madame Jiang's eyes. Although she wasn't fond of Jian Mei, the child in her womb was still a child of the Jiang family. "Grandmother, perhaps we should go see Aunt Mei." At this moment, Jiang Peihuan suggested to old Madame Jiang. Hearing her words, the old madam nodded. "Your Highness, I recently acquired some fine weapons. How about we go take a look together?" At this time, Jiang Changbai spoke to Xiao Nani. Given that a concubine from the Jiang family's second branch was giving birth, Xiao Nani naturally wouldn't want to join the commotion. So, after hearing Jiang Shangbai's words, he quickly nodded in agreement. However, as he was getting up, Xiao Nani looked at Jiang Peihuan and whispered, "Huan Er, once you're free, come find me at elder brother's place." "All right." After nodding to the man, Jiang Peihuan went to the fragrant garden with old Madame Jiang's support. When Jiang Peihuan and old Madame Jiang entered the courtyard, they immediately saw a very anxious Jiang Yuan and a conflicted Zhou Rongfang. How could she go into labor prematurely? "Mother, why are you here?" Hearing old Madame Jiang's voice, Jiang Yuan and Zhou Rongfang quickly approached and paid their respects. "Second uncle, second aunt." Standing next to the old madam, Jiang Peihuan also greeted Jiang Yuan and his wife. "Huan Er, you are now a queen of Qing Mansion. You shouldn't bow to me anymore." Seeing Jiang Peihuan's gesture, Jiang Yuan quickly held his niece's hand. "Second uncle, how is Aunt Mei?" Hearing this, worry deepened in Jiang Yuan's eyes. "We don't know yet." From inside the room came the cries of Jian Mei. Hearing the screams, Jiang Peihuan frowned. "Have you called a doctor? How can we let a male doctor see a woman in labor?" Jiang Peihuan had just spoken when Jiang Yuan immediately replied. Upon hearing this, Jiang Peihuan was speechless. She almost forgot that her second uncle was quite old-fashioned. Thinking for a moment, Jiang Peihuan turned to Jiang Yuan. "Second uncle, let me go in and see. After all, I've read a few medical books. Maybe I can help." Without waiting for Jiang Yuan's reply, Jiang Peihuan walked towards Jian Mei's room. When she entered, she was greeted by a strong smell of blood. The midwife was by the bed but seemed clueless because Jian Mei's cervix hadn't dilated yet. Jian Mei's face was pale, but when she heard a voice, she instinctively turned her head. Seeing that it was Jiang Peihuan, she was momentarily stunned. However, Jiang Peihuan had already approached and checked Jian Mei's pulse. A searing pain emanated from her abdomen, and Jian Mei let out a scream. Hearing this, Jiang Peihuan whispered, "Don't scream, or you won't have the strength for the delivery later. Go get Aunt Mei a bowl of ginseng soup." "Yes." After the maid left, Jiang Peihuan sat next to Jian Mei. Jiang Peihuan began massaging several acupuncture points on Jian Mei's body. Whether it was psychological or not, Jian Mei felt the pain in her abdomen lessen. By the time Jiang Paihuan's hands were sore from massaging, the maid returned with the ginseng soup. Aunt May, quickly drink the ginseng soup. With the maid's assistance, Jian Mei drank the entire bowl of soup. Whether it was due to Jiang Paihuan's massage or the ginseng soup, Jian Mei felt her strength returning. However, seeing Jiang Peihuan still standing by her side, there was complexity in her eyes. "Why are you helping me?" Hearing Jian Mei's words, Jiang Peihuan spoke softly. "The Jiang family is one and the same. We all thrive or suffer together. The child in your womb is a member of the Jiang family." Jiang Paihuan's voice was very cold, but Jiang Mei's eyes lit up with hope upon hearing these words. "It's opening, the birth canal is opening." At that moment, the midwife suddenly exclaimed joyfully. Jian Mei felt waves of pain, even more intense than before. "Madam Jian, push. The young master is about to come out." Hearing the midwife's words, Jian Mei tightly gripped the blanket. At this point, Jiang Peihuan could only stand by and watch. Seeing Jian Mei's painful expression, worry was evident in Jiang Paihuan's eyes. The child was only a little over 7 months. Why is it the feet first? The midwife's cry of shock snapped Jiang Peihuan back to reality. "What's wrong?" Stepping forward, Jiang Peihuan asked in a low voice. "The baby is in the wrong position. What do we do?" Looking at the tiny foot that had already emerged, worry was evident in Jiang Paihuan's eyes. The midwife was panicking. After a brief moment of contemplation, Jiang Peihuan quickly pushed the foot back in and used a silver needle to lightly prick it. Soon the little foot retracted. Seeing this, the midwife was completely stunned. Jiang Peihuan then turned to her, asking in a deep voice, "Is there any way to correct the baby's position?" Only through massaging." "Then massage her." Hearing Jiang Paihuan's words, the midwife quickly went to Jian Mei's side, washed her hands, and began pressing forcefully on Jiang Mei's abdomen. Jian Mei let out a piercing scream. However, hearing Jian Mei's cry, Jiang Peihuan tightly held her hand. "You must endure. If we don't correct the baby's position, he could easily suffocate." Hearing Jiang Paihuan's words, Jian Mei's eyes widened. She didn't scream anymore and only gripped Jiang Paihuan's hand tightly. I got it. An hour later, seeing the baby's head starting to emerge, the midwife's eyes were filled with joy. Hearing this, Jiang Peihuan hurriedly said to Jian Mei, "Did you hear that? The baby's position has been corrected, and he will be out soon. Just hang in there a bit longer. Madam Jian, push harder, the baby is about to come out." Jian Mei, looking as if she had been pulled out from the water, still tightly held onto Jiang Paihuan's hand upon hearing the voice. He's out. My baby, where's my baby?" Jian Mei's consciousness began to blur, but upon hearing the midwife's words, she still looked towards her hands. Jiang Peihuan also looked over. The baby was tiny, due to being premature, only the size of a palm, with translucent fingertips. Chapter 287. The death of Jian Mei, but in the hands of the midwife, the child let out a cry. Hearing the sound, Jiang Peihuan sighed in relief. The few people outside the door also revealed smiles on their faces. "May the Bodhisattva bless us." Old Madame Jiang, hearing the cries from inside, clasped her hands and made a gesture of prayer towards the sky. Inside the room, Jiang Peihuan wrapped the child and placed him next to Jiang Mei. She then whispered, "It's a boy and he's very handsome." Jiang Mei was already exhausted, but on hearing Jiang Paihuan's voice, she opened her eyes with all her might. Looking at the baby in the swaddle, tenderness filled Jian Mei's eyes. Due to premature birth, the baby's skin was slightly purple and he was very small, but Jian Mei was still overjoyed. She tried to touch the baby's face but couldn't lift her hand. Seeing this, Jiang Peihuan reached out and took her hand, placing it gently next to the baby's face. Jian Mei cautiously touched the baby's cheek. Her eyes were filled with satisfaction. Watching this, tenderness also filled Jiang Paihuan's eyes. No matter what, this child was her younger brother, another male member of the Jiang family. You should rest. Giving birth drains a lot of energy, so you need to recover. Thank you. Hearing Jiang Paihuan's words, Jian Mei remained silent for a moment. She then turned to Jiang Peihuan and whispered her thanks, gratitude evident in her eyes. Hearing the thanks, surprise appeared in Jiang Paihuan's eyes. She softly replied, "You're welcome, I didn't do it for you." "I know, but am still grateful for your help." All. Before Jianmei could finish, she felt a sharp pain in her abdomen. Soon after, the midwife exclaimed, "Oh no, she's hemorrhaging." Hearing the midwife's cry, Jiang Peihuan hurriedly handed the baby to a maid and turned her attention to Jianmei. She had a massive hemorrhage after giving birth, and Jianmei's blood had stained the quilt underneath her. Jianmei let out a terrible scream and suddenly gripped Jiang Peihuan's hand tightly. The force surprised Jiang Peihuan. She thought Jianmei was scared and quickly reassured her. "It's okay, one will save you." While saying this, Jiang Peihuan tried to free her hand to fetch a silver needle. But Jianmei gripped her even tighter, making it impossible to pull away. Meeting Jiang Peihuan's eyes, Jianmei rasped, "Can I ask you for a favor?" Seeing more and more blood, worry appeared in Jiang Peihuan's eyes. Hearing Jianmei's words, she replied softly, "What is it? Tell me. After I die, can you take care of my child for me? This child is your husband's son, and also a member of the Jiang family. The Jiang family will take good care of him. I know the Jiang family will look after him, but one hope he can have a better life. Please, can you promise me this?" Jianmei gripped Jiang Peihuan's hand even tighter, her veins bulging, clearly exerting all her strength. "All right, I promise you." As soon as Jiang Peihuan finished speaking, Jianmei released her hand. Then Jiang Peihuan immediately took out her silver needles. However, when the silver needles pierced into the acupoints, it did not have any effect. The blood under Jianmei's body continued to flow out. Jiang Peihuan rolled up her sleeves and began to massage the acupuncture points on Jianmei's body, but there was still no effect. Huan air. At this moment, a voice came from outside the door. It was the voice of old Madame Jiang. Jianmei's breath was getting weaker and weaker, but perhaps due to Jiang Peihuan's promise, there was no pain on her face. In fact, a faint smile even lingered at the corner of her mouth. Outside the door, the Jiang family members only heard the sounds from inside. They hadn't seen what was happening. When the door opened, old Madame Jiang immediately came forward, supported by Nanny Su. Jiang Peihuan came out holding a child, with a complex look in her eyes. The child's birth was a joyous occasion, but the passing of Jianmei was undoubtedly sorrowful. "Grandmother, it's a boy." "A boy." Before old Madame Jiang could say anything, Jiang Yuan, who was standing nearby, looked at the baby in Jiang Peihuan's hands with surprised joy and reached out to him. Zhou Rongfang, seeing Jiang Yuan's excited expression, had a flash of anger in her eyes. However, Jiang Peihuan didn't say anything. Jiang Yuan was indeed kind to their daughter, Jiang Ruyun. But deep down, being of traditional mindset, he preferred sons. So when he heard Jiang Peihuan mention that the baby was a boy, the joy in his eyes was undeniable. "Grandmother, Aunt May has passed away." Upon hearing Jiang Peihuan's words, everyone fell silent. The anger in Zhou Rongfang's eyes disappeared instantly. The child was not hers by birth, but whether she liked it or not, the child was now the only male heir of the second house. The general's mansion had male heirs in both the first and third houses, but none in the second. Now that Aunt May was gone, as long as the child was raised under Zhou Rongfang's name, he would be considered her child. "Rongfang, have her properly buried." After a long time, old Madame Jiang finally said to Zhou Rongfang, "Yes, mother." Zhou Rongfang nodded upon hearing old Madame Jiang's words. Seeing Jiang Yuan's elation, and recalling Jianmei's last words to her, Jiang Peihuan turned to Jiang Yuan. "Second uncle, this child was premature and is quite frail. He needs good care. I have Yi Xiao by my side, who is proficient in medicine. She can regularly check the baby's health during this period. You've thought it through. Let's proceed as you suggest." Upon hearing Jiang Peihuan's words, Jiang Yuan nodded. Although Jiang Peihuan had promised Jianmei to take good care of the child, she could only do so much since the child belonged to the second house. Originally, Jiang Peihuan wanted to inquire about the reason for Jianmei's premature delivery, but now she felt it was unnecessary since the person was already gone. It was just the usual affairs of their household. Madam Chow has arrived." At this moment, a maid whispered into Zhou Rongfang's ear, "Please fetch the second young miss." "Yes." After the maid left, Zhou Rongfang said to Jiang Peihuan, "Huan, I believe Madam Chow is here to discuss the marriage between Ruyun and young Master Chow. You should join us." "All right." Upon hearing Zhou Rongfang's words, Jiang Peihuan nodded. Soon after, the baby was taken away by a maid and Jiang Peihuan assisted old Madame Jiang towards the main hall. Greetings to the Queen Cheng. In addition to Madame Chow, Chow Jun had also come. Upon seeing Jiang Peihuan, both came forward to offer their respects. After all, Jiang Peihuan was now the queen of Cheng Mansion, and they needed to show their respects to her. But when Jiang Peihuan saw Madame Chow bowing, she quickly stepped forward to hold her hand. "Madam, there's no need for such formalities." Chapter 288. The Chow family arrives. "You are an elder, and it won't be long before we become a family, so there's no need to be so formal." Hearing Jiang Peihuan's words, the smile in Madame Chow's eyes deepened. She only has one son, Chow Jun. Originally, when she found out that Chow Jun was going to marry Jiang Ruyun, she was a bit hesitant. However, after meeting the Jiang family, Madame Chow was no longer opposed. But her approval was just that, and she wasn't particularly thrilled. Back in the day, even if Yan Xian wasn't the best, at least she was marrying for the first time. In contrast, Jiang Ruyun was a divorced woman. But now, seeing Jiang Peihuan, Madame Chow felt somewhat relieved. After all, the Jiang family turned out to be a good match. The Chow family, although scholarly and not keen on scheming, weren't fools. They wouldn't oppose forging ties with a prestigious family. "Second madam, you know that my husband and one only have Chow Jun as our child. I just hope he can get married soon and give me grandchildren. The queen used to be home, so I didn't want to rush things. But now that the queen has married King Cheng, shouldn't we advance the marriage plans for the two young ones?" "That's what one think too," replied Zhou Rongfang with a smile upon hearing Madame Chow's words. If it had been earlier, Zhou Rongfang might have looked down on the Chow family for their lower status. But considering Jiang Ruyun's current situation, she had no complaints about this marriage. After discussing, Jiang Ruyun and Chow Jun's wedding was set for half a month later. After setting the date, Madame Chow turned to Jiang Peihuan and asked with a smile, "What does the queen think of this date?" Jiang Peihuan, who had been quietly listening, replied, "Since the date has been decided by both of you, it's naturally appropriate." With that settled, RHE wedding date for Jiang Ruyun and Chow Jun was confirmed. There were still details to discuss with the Chow family regarding RHE wedding ceremony, so Jiang Peihuan left early. Exiting the fragrant garden, she headed straight back to her own courtyard. Upon entering, she saw Xiao Nani practicing his swordsmanship in the yard, using the same sword she was familiar with. Perhaps in high spirits, Xiao Nani's sword strokes were calm but sharp. Suddenly, Jiang Peihuan saw him leap, aiming his sword towards distant plum blossoms. Soon plum blossoms rained down around her. Xiao Nani then sheathed his sword and looked at her with a smile. The man put away his sword and looked at her with a smile. Approaching him, she realized he was drenched in sweat. She instinctively took out a handkerchief to hand to him, but instead, he bent down slightly, not making any move to take it. Seeing this, she wiped RHE sweat off his forehead herself. Afterwards, she admonished him, "You still have poison in your body. Avoid using your internal energy. ITLL only spread the poison faster. I was careless. I'll be more careful in the future." Hearing this, Jiang Peihuan gave him a stern look. When she first met Xiao Nani, she felt he was cold and ruthless. Now she no longer felt that way. After entering RHE's small hall with the man, Jiang Peihuan turned to him and said, "Didn't you go with my elder brother to his courtyard to view the weapons? Why did you return so quickly?" He replied, "Speaking of that, I think my elder brother might not want to show me his weapons in the future." "Why?" Jiang Peihuan's eyes were full of curiosity. Seeing the confusion in her eyes, Xiao Nani handed her a box. She opened it and found a dagger inside, made of the same cold iron material as the one Xiao Nani had given her before. After a moment of thought, she asked, You took this from my elder brother? Jiang Peihuan spoke with certainty, but Xiao Nani chuckled and corrected. Not taken but won. Hearing this, Jiang Peihuan couldn't help but laugh. She knew her elder brother, Jiang Changbai, better than anyone. His only hobby was collecting weapons. If Xiao Nani had won a weapon from him, it would surely keep Jiang Changbai awake that night. She teased. My elder brother might not want you to visit him in the future. He replied confidently. That won't be the case. As they talked, they heard the voice of Jiang Xijin. Elder sister, I want to go hunting in the South Mountain. Would you accompany me? Noticing Xiao Nani, Jiang Xijin greeted with a lively jump. Brother-in-law, you're here too. Although Xiao Nani usually appeared cold, he greeted her warmly. Fourth young lady. The Jiang family used their birth order to address each other. Jiang Xijin promptly corrected him. Brother-in-law, now that you're married to my elder sister, you can just call me by my name. Xijin. He corrected himself obediently. Jiang Peihuan noticed that among all in Rhe Jiang family, Xiao Nani was the most amiable with Jiang Xijin. Elder sister, after Rhe snow has stopped for a while, the animals in the mountains must have come to find food. If we go hunting now, we might come across some good catches. Jiang Peihuan cautioned. Even though the snow has stopped, Rhe mountain temperature is still low. Some places are still covered with snow, and others are melting. Aren't you afraid of the cold? We'll warm up once we start moving. So shall we go? Jiang Xijin eagerly pulled on Jiang Peihuan's sleeve, trying to persuade her. Seeing no change in her sister's stance, she turned her attention to Xiao Nani with a sweet smile. Brother-in-law, even though the South Mountain isn't as exciting as the West Mountain, it's still fun. Do you want to go? Since Xijin wishes to, let's go. Elder sister, even brother-in-law wants to go. Let's do it. Pleased with Xiao Nani's agreement, Jiang Xijin swayed Jiang Peihuan's arm, trying to get her to agree. Finally, Jiang Peihuan nodded. All right, I agree. If we're going, why not ask elder brother, Ruyun, and Songbai if they'd like to join? Third brother has gone to visit friends, so one won't ask him. But he'll check with elder brother and second sister. Chapter 289. Chance encounter in the mountain. After saying that, Jiang Xijin ran off. An hour later, Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani left the house. Those who accompanied them were Jiang Ruyun, Jiang Changbai, Jiang Xijin, and Qiao Jun. When Qiao Jun heard that the Jiang siblings were heading to South Mountain, he decided to join them. Since they were going hunting, they didn't take a carriage and rode their horses towards South Mountain. Jiang Xijin, who usually stayed in the military camp, was excited to get out. She eagerly spurred her horse forward. Worried about Jiang Xijin's safety, Jiang Changbai followed her. Initially, Jiang Peihuan wasn't too invested, but seeing the others racing ahead, she became interested. Turning to the man beside her, she whispered, Xiao Nani, do you remember our first horse race? Hearing Jiang Peihuan's voice, Xiao Nani nodded and smiled. Of course I remember. We didn't have a clear winner back then. Are you challenging me to a rematch today? Indeed. As her words fell, Jiang Peihuan gently patted her horse, Lai Feng, saying, Let's go, Lai Feng. Lai Feng, being highly responsive, immediately galloped forward at Jiang Peihuan's command. Looking at Jiang Peihuan's figure, Xiao Nani also spurred his horse, Zhui Yun, saying, Zhui Yun, you can't let your wife win. After Jiang Peihuan married into the Cheng mansion, Lai Feng also moved with her. Lai Feng and Zhui Yun were kept together. It's said that horses follow their owners, and among the rare breeds, Zhui Yun was quite aloof, but he always loved following Lai Feng. Now seeing Lai Feng sprinting forward, Zhui Yun quickly chased after. Eldest sister, brother-in-law, wait for me. Initially, Jiang Xijin was leading, but two figures suddenly raced past her. Watching the backs of Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan, Jiang Xijin called out. However, all she got in response was the dust they kicked up. The group soon reached South Mountain. As they approached the foot of the mountain, Jiang Peihuan reined in Lai Feng. As she halted, Xiao Nani stopped beside her. Glancing at the man next to her, Jiang Peihuan whispered, It's another tie. We'll race again next time. All right. Let's go into the mountain. Under Jiang Shangbai's command, the group slowly walked into the mountain. Just as they entered, numerous small animals scattered around. Seeing this, Jiang Xijin, with a grin, drew her bow and arrow. One knew there'd be plenty to hunt, she remarked as she shot 2 rabbits. Why are there only small creatures? No big one, she complained after some time. Hearing her, Jiang Changbai whispered, for bigger prey, we need to go deeper. This area is too shallow. Then let's go deeper. As she spoke, Jiang Xijin rode deeper into the woods. Seeing this, Jiang Changbai didn't object. After all, the Jiang family children had martial arts training from a young age and enjoyed hunting. However, as he passed by Jiang Peihuan, he told Xiao Nani, Your Highness, please take care of Peihuan. Don't worry, elder brother-in-law. Eldest young master, rest assured 111 take care of Ruyun. Chao Jun added as Jiang Changbai glanced at him. Then the 6 of them ventured deeper. Elder brother, come quick, there really is something. Not long after they ventured in, Jiang Peihuan heard Jiang Xijin's voice. Following the direction of the sound, Jiang Peihuan frowned. That voice. Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani exchanged glances, both with a hint of bewilderment in their eyes. Although Jiang Changbai wasn't married, he was still a grown man and well-versed in worldly matters. So when he saw Jiang Xijin moving forward, he immediately shouted, Xijin, come back! But it was too late. The arrow from Jiang Xijin's bow had already been released. As Jiang Xijin's arrow took flight, Jiang Peihuan heard a woman scream in pain, a voice she recognized all too well. Eldest sister, it sounds like Yan Xian. Jiang Ruyun whispered before Jiang Peihuan could speak. Jiang Peihuan remained silent, her gaze fixed on a large tree in the distance. Moments later, a man emerged from behind the tree. Upon seeing Hachi now, Jiang Peihuan was visibly taken aback. Hachi, equally surprised to see Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan, greeted, King Cheng, Queen Cheng. First Prince Hachi seeing him bow, Jiang Peihuan returned the gesture. Soon after, faint murmurs came from behind Hachi, and Yan Xian stepped out. Her expression upon seeing everyone present was a chaotic mix of emotions. Miss Yan, what are you doing here? What were you and Prince Hachi up to? Jiang Xijin, still innocent to the implications of the earlier sounds, asked, sensing something was amiss. Yan Xin's eyes flashed with anger at the question. She ignored Jiang Xijin, turning instead to Jiang Peihuan. Jiang Peihuan, did you intend to murder someone? If Prince Hachi had truly been hit by that arrow, how would you explain to the emperor? That was my arrow. What does it have to do with my elder sister? Jiang Xijin retorted, stepping protectively in front of Jiang Peihuan. Yan Xian sneered. The upbringing of the Jiang General Mansion is truly exceptional, daring to shoot an arrow at the prince of the grassland tribes. Yan Xian, there's no need to twist the facts. My younger sister had no idea you and Prince Hachi were behind that tree. She thought it was a wild animal, hence the arrow. Wild animal? Jiang Ruyun, you dare to insult Prince Hachi by calling him a beast? You. All. Before Yan Xian could finish, she felt a sharp pain at her neck. Turning her head, she saw an arrow quivering in the tree trunk right behind her. Holding the bow was none other than Xiao Nani. Meeting Yan Xin's horrified gaze, Xiao Nani calmly warned, If I hear your voice again, 111 kill you on the spot. Fear replaced the rage in Yan Xin's eyes, rendering her speechless. In Qi Kingdom, everyone knew of King Cheng's unpredictable temper, and if Xiao Nani truly killed her, the emperor wouldn't punish him. Everyone in the Qi Kingdom knew the emperor's indulgence towards King Cheng. King Cheng, this matter has nothing to do with Miss Yan. Please don't make things difficult for her. Chapter 290. Hunting in the Mountains. By what right are you speaking to me? Upon hearing Hakai's words, Xiao Nani replied immediately, his eyes devoid of warmth. Stunned by Xiao Nani's words, Hachi was caught off guard. Though his tribe on the grassland was small, his status as the prince gave him considerable respect among the princes of the Qi Kingdom. However, now Hachi realized that in Xiao Nani's eyes, his status meant nothing. Anyone else making such a statement would have deeply humiliated Hachi. However, as his tribe values strength above all. And knowing the capability of King Cheng, he quickly bowed in apology after a few moments of silence. "One apologize for my oversight, please forgive me, King Cheng." Beside them, Yin Xian, who had been listening, was left in complete disbelief. When she learned that Prince Hachi was searching for a bride among the noblewomen, Yin Xian took the initiative to approach him. Although her heart was set on Prince Qing, the latter's household had become too lively, leading her to abandon that idea. Now, seeing Hakai's deference to Xiao Nani, Yin Xian was left questioning her choices. "Let's go over there," Xiao Nani said, not even acknowledging Hakai's apology. Instead, he turned to Jiang Peihuan. Upon hearing him, Jiang Peihuan nodded and followed. As they were leaving, Xiao Nani instinctively took her hand, positioning himself protectively in front of her. Watching this scene, a range of emotions played out in Yan Xin's eyes, especially when she noticed the bow and arrow in Jiang Peihuan's hand. "After they leave, we should go too," Hachi said to Yin Xian. "But why are we leaving this vast south mountain?" Yin Xian started, but was abruptly interrupted by Hachi. "Enough," he snapped. "Don't think I'm unaware of why you approached me. I don't mind if you play your games, but if you ever try to manipulate me, I will not spare you." With that, Hachi walked away, not even sparing another glance at Yin Xian. Watching the man who was once affectionate with her now leave so coldly, Yin Xin's eyes darkened. She turned and took another path. Biting her lip, Yin Xian walked off in another direction. Jiang Peihuan, unaware of the preceding events, wouldn't have cared even if she knew. At that moment, the Jiang family was focused on hunting, having entered deep into the mountains. Jiang Ruyin couldn't help but ask Jiang Peihuan, "Elder sister, is Yin Xian planning to marry into the grassland tribe?" As she spoke, she instinctively glanced at Qiao Jun beside her. After all, there was once an engagement between him and Yin Xian. Although she and Qiao Jun were soon to be married, she couldn't help but overthink this detail. Seeing no reaction on Qiao Jun's face, as if he hadn't heard her words, Jiang Ruyin breathed a sigh of relief. Upon hearing Jiang Ruyin's question, Jiang Peihuan simply responded, "Whatever her plans may be, they have nothing to do with us." In her past life, Yin Xian was one of the people who had harmed her. Maybe things have changed this time around, or perhaps her family is still safe, but Jiang Peihuan's perspective has gradually shifted. As for Yin Xian, as long as she doesn't provoke Jiang Peihuan, there won't be any issue. Jiang Peihuan's approach may be simple, but there are those who refuse to let her be. "Elder sister, look." Suddenly, Jiang Xijin exclaimed in surprise. Following her gaze, everyone spotted a white tiger not far away. The white tiger had originally wanted to come out and find food. At first, when it sensed the presence of humans, it was somewhat excited. But upon seeing Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan's group, it decided to run away. Animals have a keen sense of danger. To the white tiger, the aura given off by Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan's were dangerous. So, after giving Xiao Nani, Jiang Peihuan and their group a glance, it ran off into the distance. "Think you can escape?" Upon witnessing this, Jiang Xijin exclaimed excitedly, her eyes filled with eagerness, and immediately spurred her horse to give chase. Seeing this, Jiang Peihuan quickly followed. Naturally, Xiao Nani wanted to follow Jiang Peihuan. Immediately, everyone headed in the direction the white tiger had taken. At first, the entire group could keep up, but Lai Feng and Zhui Yun's speed was incredibly fast. Gradually, Jiang Ruyin and Qiao Jun couldn't keep up. "Xijin, come back." From horseback, Jiang Peihuan shouted as she saw Jiang Xijin relentlessly chasing after the white tiger without looking back. But Jiang Xijin moved too fast and didn't hear Jiang Peihuan's voice. "Don't worry, I'll chase her." Xiao Nani, observing the situation, quickly reassured. But just as Xiao Nani surged forward, an arrow suddenly shot out of nowhere, aiming straight for Jiang Peihuan's face. No one expected an arrow to suddenly appear. Jiang Peihuan didn't even have time to dodge. "Huan Air, watch out." Jiang Changbai, who had caught up, shouted in alarm. Jiang Peihuan, unable to avoid it, could only watch the arrow fly towards her. But at that moment, Xiao Nani, who had already moved ahead, suddenly flew back, pulling her into his embrace. The arrow grazed past Xiao Nanya's face, leaving a bloody mark on the man's cheek. Before either of them could utter a word, another arrow shot towards them. This time, Jiang Chongbai promptly took out his bow and aimed in the direction from which the arrows came. Xiao Nani pulled Jiang Peihuan behind him, and screams echoed from a distance. The three exchanged glances and moved in that direction. Making their way through the jungle, Jiang Peihuan instantly spotted Yin Xian. An arrow lodged in her chest, lying at the base of a tree with blood smeared around her mouth. But upon seeing Jiang Peihuan, Yin Xian glared at her darkly. She tried to raise her bow, but she no longer had the strength to even draw it. "You're seeking death." Seeing the bow in Yin Zin's hands, Xiao Nanya's eyes filled with murderous intent. He promptly raised his bow, aiming straight at Yin Xian, but was stopped by Jiang Peihuan, who grabbed his wrist. Meeting his puzzled look, Jiang Peihuan whispered, "No need to waste an arrow. Her heart's vessels are damaged." Upon hearing Jiang Peihuan's words, Xiao Nani put down his bow. Although Jiang Peihuan stopped Xiao Nani, she had no intentions of saving Yin Xian. After all, Yin Xian had tried to kill her, and she wasn't that magnanimous. Whether you live or die depends on your fate. After leaving that comment, Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani departed. Chapter 291. The death of Yin Xian and Prince Hachi. Seeing them walk away, Yin Xian let out a sigh of relief. With all the strength she could muster, she tried to get up. Just as she was about to move, she heard footsteps. Seeing the person approaching, Yin Zin's eyes filled with a mix of joy and surprise. However, an arrow shot directly at her. Staring at the person in front of her, her eyes reflected confusion and a touch of sorrow. "Your Highness, Prince Hachi should be nearby too. With only Yin Xian, the Emperor won't harm Jiang Peihuan. But if Prince Hachi is also killed, even if His Majesty wishes to keep the peace, the ministers won't allow it," Lin Mingyao calmly remarked. Xiao Juanhao, holding a bow and arrow, nodded in agreement after hearing her words. "You're right." He then turned to Pei Wu. "Take a few men and go after Hachi. Remember, clean up properly." "Yes." Following Xiao Junhao's order, Pei Wu left immediately with a few men. Xiao Juanhao stood still, not sparing a glance at Yin Xian, who lay dead on the ground. Instead, his gaze followed the direction Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani had taken. His eyes held a complex emotion. Jian Peihuan was completely unaware of these things. Unaware of these events, Jiang Peihuan helped Xiao Nani tend to his wound after they left. His flawless face bore a distinct scar. Only now, as she cleaned the wound, did Jiang Peihuan realize its depth. Fortunately, since they came for hunting, Jiang Peihuan had brought along a medicine for wounds. Preparing to apply it, she warned Xiao Nani, "This might sting a bit. Bear with it." Jiang Peihuan carefully treated Xiao Nanya's injury. By the time she was done, Jiang Chongbai returned with Jiang Xijin, and behind them, they dragged a white tiger. "Elder sister, look. One shot this white tiger." Brother-in-law, you're hurt?" While talking to Jiang Peihuan, Jiang Xijin noticed Xiao Nanya's facial injury. Seeing her concern, Xiao Nani gently smiled. "It's nothing. Just a small wound." "It's getting late, let's go back." Jiang Peihuan didn't say much to Jiang Xijin, and directly spoke out. Upon hearing this, no one objected. After finding Jiang Ruyun and Chao Jun, the group headed straight into the city. By the time they returned to the general's mansion, the sky was already dark. Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan went straight back to Plum Garden. Because Xiao Nani had a wound on his face, the two did not leave Plum Garden after they returned. That night, after treating the man's wound, they both lay down on the bed. The next morning, Jiang Peihuan was awakened by a knock on the door. When she opened her eyes, Xiao Nani was no longer in bed. "Queen, someone from the palace is here." Jiang Peihuan, who was still slightly groggy, instantly became alert upon hearing this. "Do you know what's going on?" she asked softly, looking at Yu Er, who was combing her hair. In response to Jiang Peihuan's question, Yu Er shook her head. "I'm not sure. Someone from the palace said they've come to summon you." When Jiang Peihuan and Yu Er went out, They saw it was Wang Kuren. Upon seeing him, Jiang Peihuan nodded slightly. Where's King Cheng? His Highness was sent by the Emperor to handle some matters. His Highness left the mansion very early. Hearing this, Jiang Peihuan's eyes flickered, realizing that Xiao Nani had been deliberately sent away by Emperor Qi Ming. All the Jiang family members had also arrived. Seeing the worry in their eyes, Jiang Peihuan reassured them. Father, mother, don't worry, it'll be back soon. Without an official summons, the Jiang family couldn't enter the palace, so they could only watch Jiang Peihuan board the carriage. Throughout the journey, not a single word was spoken between them. However, when they reached the entrance of the Qianqing Palace, Jiang Peihuan heard a faint voice whispering into her ear. Be careful, Queen Cheng. Prince Hachi and Miss Yan's are dead. The words were spoken by Wang Kuan. When Jiang Peihuan looked up at him, his face showed no signs of emotion. Despite hearing the words, Jiang Peihuan acted as if she hadn't heard anything. Yet her eyes were filled with complexity. Yan Xian had died. Even though Yan Xian had been shot in the heart by Jiang Changbai, she had martial arts training, so she wouldn't have died so easily. As for Prince Hachi, he had just left the previous day. Lost in thought, Jiang Peihuan arrived at the Qianqing Palace. Your Majesty, my royal brother came to the capital to seek a marriage. Yet he was killed by Queen Cheng. You must provide an explanation to our grassland tribes. The voice of Zhuoma echoed as soon as Jiang Peihuan entered the inner hall. As Zhuoma spoke, she shot Jiang Peihuan a dark and resentful look. Hearing this, Jiang Peihuan frowned but did not respond. Approaching the emperor, she bowed and greeted. Greetings, Your Majesty. Jiang Peihuan, you have some nerve. For your selfish desires, you dare to kill a minister's family member and a prince of the grassland tribe. Emperor Qi Ming's cold voice rang out. Upon hearing his accusation, Jiang Peihuan looked up directly into the eyes of Emperor Qi Ming, who was seated on the dragon throne, and softly responded, Your Majesty, from where do these words originate? As she spoke, her eyes were filled with bewilderment. Seeing her expression, the coldness in Emperor Qi Ming's eyes deepened. Miss Yan and Prince Hachi, weren't they killed by you? I doesn't understand what Your Majesty means, she replied. Queen Cheng, stop pretending in front of His Majesty. Yesterday, you went hunting in the South Mountain with the Jiang family. Coincidentally, my royal brother and Miss Yan were also there. After your family left, they were found dead. If it wasn't you, who else could it be? I've also heard that you had a grudge with Miss Yan. Before Emperor Qi Ming could respond, Zhuoma impatiently interjected. Upon hearing this, Jiang Peihuan turned to face Zhuoma and calmly asked, Princess Zhuoma, you keep insisting I killed them. Do you have any proof? Of course. Moments later, a young eunuch entered the inner hall holding several long arrows. Jiang Peihuan recognized them. They were unique to the Jiang family. In the Qi kingdom, every military family had their unique markings on their arrows. The Jiang family's arrows bore their family's emblem. The arrows presented by the eunuch clearly had the Jiang family's emblem. Queen Cheng, do you recognize these arrows? Emperor Qi Ming inquired. Upon hearing him, Jiang Peihuan nodded and replied, Yes, these arrows belong to the Jiang family. Chapter 292. Confrontation in the palace. Is the mark above fake? No. Do you know these arrows were found on Miss Yan and Prince Hachi? Upon hearing Emperor Qi Ming's words, Jiang Peihuan's expression became somewhat unpleasant, not because of the current situation but because of these arrows. All arrows from military families are documented, which indicates that Jiang's arrows have fallen into other hands. Thinking of this, Jiang Peihuan looked visibly distressed. Jiang Peihuan, do you have anything to say? Seeing Jiang Peihuan remain silent, Emperor Qi Ming looked at her and spoke coldly. No, the death of Miss Yan and Prince Hachi has nothing to do with me. Before Emperor Qi Ming could reply, Jiang Peihuan continued. Although these arrows are from Jiang's family, they weren't shot by someone from the Jiang family. Are you joking with me? Apart from the Jiang family, who else can get their hands on Jiang's arrows? Regarding this matter, I'd also like to know. Jiang Peihuan, how dare you? Hearing Jiang Peihuan's words, Emperor Qi Ming slammed the table in anger. Seeing this, Jiang Peihuan silently knelt down. However, her expression remained calm. Seeing Jiang Peihuan like this, Emperor Qi Ming's anger grew. Looking at the kneeling Jiang Peihuan, Emperor Qi Ming spoke directly. Jiang Peihuan, do you think that since you're married to Nani, I can't touch you? Imperial brother? Just as Jiang Peihuan was about to speak, she heard a familiar voice and saw a familiar figure approaching her. It was Xiao Nani. The man had clearly rushed over, not even wearing his cloak. Seeing Xiao Nani, the anger in Emperor Qi Ming's eyes diminished slightly. But then, as if remembering something, he became furious again. I sent you to investigate the disaster that befell the common people. Why are you here? I didn't know the imperial brother asked me to investigate that. I thought the intention was to harass Huan Heir. King Cheng, don't be deceived by the Queen Cheng Shi. Silence. Zhuo Ma, who was standing nearby, looked at the suddenly arriving Xiao Nani. Seeing him defend Jiang Peihuan, jealousy filled her eyes. But she was abruptly cut off by Xiao Nani. The man stared coldly at Zhuo Ma. Who do you think you are to interrupt a conversation between me and my imperial brother? Hearing Xiao Nani's merciless words, Zhuo Ma's eyes were filled with unwillingness. She bit her lips tightly, but she didn't dare to say another word. Emperor Qi Ming, noticing Xiao Nani's demeanor, showed some dissatisfaction. Do you know Prince Ha Qi is the legitimate son of the great Khan of the Grasslands? His death will be hard for me to explain to the tribes. So you're framing my wife? What do you mean by framing? Just because of a few arrows, you concluded that Huan Heir is the murderer. Isn't that framing? Don't tell me Huan Heir is innocent. Even if she really killed the prince of the grassland tribes, so what? If the tribes are unhappy with you because of this, I am willing to lead an army to conquer the entire grassland. Xiao Nani's voice was soft but clearly audible to everyone. Hearing Xiao Nani's words, Emperor Qi Ming laughed sarcastically. I didn't know you were such a devoted lover. Although Emperor Qi Ming's face was full of anger, there was no real fury in his eyes. Zhuo Ma's persistent questioning had irritated him greatly. But with Xiao Nani's words, Emperor Qi Ming felt fearless all of a sudden. Imperial brother, Huan Heir was with me all day yesterday. The deaths of those two have nothing to do with her. Then what about these arrows? Regarding these arrows, I will investigate together with the Jiang family members. We will definitely find out the truth. Hearing Xiao Nani's words, Emperor Qi Ming fell silent. After a long while he looked at Xiao Nani and said, You trust your wife so much. I dare stake my own life to vouch for her. Xiao Nani looked very calm, but upon hearing this, both Emperor Qi Ming and Jiang Peihuan looked surprised. Emperor Qi Ming took a deep look at Jiang Peihuan, and then said to Xiao Nani, Since you believe in her so much, I'll give you 3 days. In 3 days, one want to see the truth. Otherwise, I'll have to answer to the whole court using the general's mansion. Thank you, Imperial brother. If there's nothing else, I'll take the queen back. Saying this, Xiao Nani directly took Jiang Peihuan's hand and walked out. Your Majesty, about this matter. Enough. Zhuo Ma, who was standing aside, looked at the departing figures of Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan with jealousy. She subconsciously started to speak to Emperor Qi Ming, but before she could finish, the emperor interrupted her. Princess Zhuo Ma, I've already summoned the queen according to your wishes. We haven't cleared up this matter yet, so we can't conclude that she is the murderer. So, wait for 3 more days before you say anything. Wang Kuan, escort Princess Zhuo Ma back to the post station. Yes. Wang Kuan, who was close to Emperor Qi Ming, naturally understood the emperor's intentions. As soon as the emperor finished speaking, Wang Kuan smilingly walked up to Zhuo Ma. Princess Zhuo Ma, please. Zhuo Ma looked displeased, but she still followed Wang Kuan out. Outside, Zhuo Ma noticed that Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan were waiting. Seeing Xiao Nani's gloomy gaze directed at her, Zhuo Ma quickly ran away. King Cheng, Queen Cheng? Wang Kuan approached the two with a smile and bowed deeply. Chief Wang, thank you for today. Your Highness is too polite. Chief Wang, this medicine is very effective for joint pain. I'm giving it to you. Jiang Peihuan took out a bottle of medicine and handed it to Wang Kuan. Monetary compensation seemed too crude for Wang Kun's repeated help. So Jiang Peihuan chose to give him what he needed. She noticed that Wang Kun had joint problems from the first glance, a common issue for eunuchs in the palace since they often kneel. Wang Kun, who was initially all smiles, froze upon hearing Jiang Peihuan's words. After a while, with tears in his eyes, he took the porcelain bottle from her. I thank the queen for her kindness. If you find improvement, let me know, and I'll continue to prepare the same medication for you. If it's not effective, I'll try another prescription. Chapter 293. Shuiru was rejected outside the door. Thank you, Queen Cheng, but this humble one doesn't deserve the care and effort you've put in. Chief Wang, you serve closely to the emperor and should take good care of your health. As Wang Kun spoke, Jiang Peihuan softly replied. Hearing her words, gratitude filled Wang Kun's eyes, but he remained silent. He was the chief eunuch serving beside Emperor Qi Ming. While everyone would show him a certain degree of respect, in private, no one truly respected him. Yet every time Jiang Peihuan spoke to him, her demeanor was gentle, and her words carried respect. It's getting late. King and Queen Cheng, please take care on your way. After bowing to Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan, Wang Kun softly spoke. The couple nodded and left immediately. After leaving the palace, they went straight to the general's mansion. The Jiang family was awaiting news. Seeing Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan, Shui Yan immediately asked, Huan heir, why did the emperor summon you to the palace? Jiang Hong and the others didn't speak, but their gazes naturally turned towards Jiang Peihuan. Meeting everyone's eyes, Jiang Peihuan briefly recounted the situation regarding Yan Xian and Ha Qi, then continued, the emperor ordered me to find the real culprit within 3 days. Hearing Jiang Peihuan's words, concern filled the eyes of the Jiang family members. As Jiang Peihuan was about to speak, Xiao Nani's voice interrupted. Father, mother, don't worry. I will ensure this matter is thoroughly investigated. Hearing Xiao Nani, Jiang Hong and Shui Yan's gaze shifted to him. Aware of Xiao Nani's capabilities, Shui Yan nodded. King Cheng will rely on you for this matter. Mother, Huan heir and I are husband and wife now. There's no need for formalities between us. Hearing this, Shui Yan smiled without saying anything else. With Xiao Nani's presence, the Jiang family felt somewhat reassured. However, after returning to Plum Garden, both Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani wore expressions of concern. Huan heir, do you have any leads on this matter? Hearing Xiao Nani's question, Jiang Peihuan shook her head. The Jiang family has offended many over the years, so one don't have any leads for now. It might not necessarily be against the Jiang family. It could be against me. Meeting Jiang Peihuan's puzzled look, Xiao Nani smiled. One have as many enemies as the Jiang family. Although he smiled as he spoke, his eyes were cold. No matter who it is, I'll find them. You don't need to worry about this. I'll have Han Feng investigate. Jiang Peihuan believed that Xiao Nani had more means to investigate than she did, so she didn't object. After all, they are now husband and wife. They are one, so when faced with issues, they should support each other. That night, Xiao Nani did not stay in Plum Garden. Emperor Qi Ming only gave them 3 days, so the time was quite pressing. However, Jiang Peihuan did not receive any news from Xiao Nani, but the next day she learned that old Madame Shui intended to return to Qingzhou. Immediately, Jiang Peihuan, along with Shui Yan, Jiang Changbai, and Jiang Xijin, went to the Shui residence in the capital. The Shui family's residence in the capital is relatively small and out of the way, so it took a while by carriage. When Jiang Peihuan alighted from the carriage, she saw the Shui family packing. Old Madame Shui stood at the entrance with Wang Fingyi and Su Yunyan. Behind them were Shui Qi and Shui Ji among others. Behind him stood Shui Qi, Shui Ji, and the others. Greetings to Queen Cheng. Seeing Jiang Peihuan approaching, everyone, led by old Madame Shui, began to bow. Jiang Peihuan rushed forward to support old Madame Shui. Grandmother, what are you doing? We can't neglect the etiquette. You are already a queen. According to the rules, we have to bow to you. Grandmother, customs shouldn't override affection. You are my elder, and it's improper for me to accept such courtesy from you. Old Madame Shui still insisted. Jiang Peihuan had no choice but to look at Xiao Nani. Catching her glance, the man immediately approached. Grandmother, we are all family, there's no need for formalities. Seeing even Xiao Nani speaking in this manner, old Madame Shui refrained from further objections. Originally, old Madame Shui just didn't want Jiang Peihuan to be put in a difficult position in front of Xiao Nani, lest the royal family would say they lacked manners. But now, hearing Xiao Nani's words, she felt somewhat relieved. However, after hearing Xiao Nani's words, old Madame Shui was relieved. Grandmother, why are you in such a hurry to return to Qingzhou? Why not stay in the capital a little longer? Jiang Peihuan took old Madame Shui's hand and whispered as they walked inside. Hearing this, old Madame Shui gently patted Jiang Peihuan's hand, whispering, I originally came to the capital for your wedding. Now that your marriage with King Cheng is concluded, it's time for us to return. Moreover, an extended stay might arouse suspicions. When mentioning this, old Madame Shui lowered her voice. However, Jiang Peihuan still heard it. She understood the implication. The Shui family was a significant power in Qingzhou, and if they stayed there, no one would suspect anything. However, an extended stay in the capital could raise Emperor Qi Ming's suspicions. After all, the incident with King Chujiang had just happened. They continued walking in silence until Shui Ru's voice interrupted them. However, just as they were about to enter, Jian Peihuan heard Shui Ru's voice from behind. Grandmother? Mother? Hearing the voice, everyone instinctively turned around. Shui Ru, looking well off, descended from a carriage, supported by a maid. As Jiang Peihuan observed, she thought Shui Ru must have been leading a comfortable life in the Qing mansion. Grandmother, you're returning to Qingzhou. Why wasn't I informed? Anger flashed in Shui Ru's eyes as she approached and accused old Madame Shui. Old Madame Shui looked at her granddaughter, her eyes filled with coldness. Turning to Shui Ru, she said coldly, You are no longer a member of the Shui family. Whether we stay or leave has nothing to do with you. Grandmother, can you really be so heartless towards me? It's not that I am heartless, but you who lack any semblance of familial affection. If it weren't for the lingering ties of blood, do you think you'd still be standing here? Have you forgotten that you placed that treasonous letter in your uncle's study? Shui Ru didn't expect old Madame Shui to bring up that incident. Her expression turned unsightly. She wanted to retort and explain, but she couldn't find any justification. Jiang Peihuan looked at Shui Ru with indifference. From the moment Shui Ru had placed that letter in Jiang Hong's study, in Jiang Peihuan's heart, Shui Ru was no longer considered family. Chapter 294. The Shui family leaves the capital. Huan Heir, help me in. Yes. Hearing old Madame Shui's voice, Jiang Peihuan supported her and walked inside. Seeing this, Shui Ru instinctively followed, but she heard old Madame Shui's emotionless voice. She's not allowed in. Upon hearing old Madame Shui's words, the guards at the door immediately stopped Shui Ru. Get out of the way. Do you know who I am? I am the Prince Qing side consort. How dare you stop me? Looking at the people blocking her, there was only humiliation in Shui Ru's eyes. She watched as Jiang Peihuan supported old Madame Shui inside, while she was directly blocked outside. Looking at Jiang Peihuan's figure, Shui Ru's eyes were filled with hatred. But upon hearing her words, old Madame Shui sneered. If you want to show off your side consort status, go back to the Prince Qing mansion. You'll never step foot into the Shui family again. Close the gate. Then the doors of the Shui's residence were immediately shut. Through the crack of the door, Shui Ru saw the indifferent expressions of everyone inside. Even though their faces seemed nonchalant, to Shui Ru, they were openly mocking. She no longer looked at old Madame Shui, but turned to Wang Fingyi. Mother, won't you stand up for me too? Tears filled Shui Ru's eyes. Although Wang Fingyi had her reasons for raising Shui Ru, it was impossible to say that there was no affection over the years. So upon hearing Shui Ru's voice and seeing her tears, Wang Fingyi looked very concerned. Just as she was about to step forward, her sleeve was grabbed by Shui Ji. Mother, remember what grandmother told you. Hearing her son's voice, Wang Fingyi immediately recalled the words of old Madame Shui. She then loosened her grip and followed everyone inside. The gates closed right in front of Shueru. With her face full of tears, Shueru really cried this time out of anger. Secondary consort, back to the mansion. Shueru interrupted her maid without letting her finish. Wiping away her tears vigorously, she got on the carriage, her gaze towards the Shui family's gate full of resentment. At the Shui residence, although old Madame Shui had declared that Shueru wasn't a part of the family, her expression remained stern. Supporting her down in a chair, Jiang Peihuan handed her a cup of hot tea. "Grandmother, have some hot tea first." Taking the teacup from Jiang Peihuan, old Madame Shui slowly drank some tea. After putting down the teacup, old Madame Shui looked at Shui Yan. "Shui Yan, from now on, you don't have to show any consideration for Shueru. If she does anything, you don't have to be merciful." "I understand, mother." Hearing old Madame Shui's words, Shui Yan nodded. Originally, Shui Yan had some affection for her only niece. However, after the incident with the letter, she had no more feelings for Shueru. After all, if it wasn't for Jiang Peihuan being prepared, the entire Jiang family would have perished. Just thinking of this, Shui Yan couldn't forgive Shueru. When the Shui family came, they didn't bring much. But when it was time to return, Shui Yan prepared many things. Nonetheless, packing went quickly. After lunch, the Shui family prepared to leave. Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani escorted the Shui family to the city gate. Sitting on their horses, Xueqi and Xuezhi looked at Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan, softly laughing. "King Cheng, please take good care of Huan Er. Rest assured one will. When you have time, you might consider taking Huan Er to Qingzhou for a visit." "Of course, I will take her there when the time is right." Xiao Nani wasn't irritated by their reminders but responded seriously. This made the Shui family even more satisfied with him. Standing beside Xiao Nani, Jiang Peihuan watched the scene with a slight smile. She knew he wasn't a gentle man, but he showed a softer side towards her family. "Mother, please take care." Seeing old Madame Shui boarding the carriage, Shui Yan's eyes reddened. With tears in her own eyes, old Madame Shui held Shui Yan's hand, then ordered the curtain to be drawn. The news of the Shui family leaving the capital spread quickly and reached the Prince Qing's mansion. They returned directly to Qingzhou? Yes. Sitting in his chair with whip marks still visible on his face, Xiao Junhao's expression darkened. Seeing Pei Wu nod, Xiao Junhao's eyes darkened. "And Shueru? She left the mansion today, but the Shui family didn't let her in." "Ha!" Hearing this, Xiao Junhao chuckled coldly, a chilling edge in his smile. At this moment, footsteps approached. Looking up, Xiao Junhao saw Shueru. "Your Highness." Shueru greeted him. But when she met his eyes, she shivered, sensing his anger. But when she looked up, Shueru couldn't help but shiver. Xiao Junhao was looking at her with a terrifying expression. That expression didn't seem like he was looking at a person, but something disgusting. "It seems you failed in every task I set for you. Please forgive me, Your Highness." As Shueru knelt, she promised, "I will find a way to get my father on your side. Please believe in me." Why should I believe in someone who can't even enter the Shui family's gate? Before she could respond, Xiao Junhao grabbed her by the throat. Shueru had barely said a word when Xiao Junhao grabbed her by the neck. Looking into her terrified eyes, he whispered, "I don't tolerate incompetence. If you're worthless to the Shui family and to me, then there's no reason for you to live." He tightened his grip. Pei Wu, watching from the side, wanted to intervene but hesitated, aware of Xiao Junhao's recent volatile mood. "Your Highness, if you kill side consort Shui now, others might be displeased." At that moment, Jiang Yan entered the room. Seeing Shueru, now turning purple, she quietly spoke to Xiao Junhao. Hesitating briefly, Xiao Junhao eventually released his grip. Gasping on the floor, Shueru convulsed, struggling to breathe. Chapter 295. Jiang Yan's ambition, but no one gave her another glance, as if she didn't even exist on the ground. "Why is the princess consort here?" Casting a brief look at Jiang Yan, Xiao Junhao asked directly. Xiao Juanhao wasn't satisfied with Jiang Yin being the main princess consort. After all, the fact that King Chujiang committed treason was undeniable. Being from the king's Chujiang mansion, Jiang Yin bore its stigma. With her around, Emperor Qi Ming would never appoint him as the crown prince. I came to bring something for your highness. What is it? Sitting next to Xiao Juanhao, Jiang Yin pushed a wooden box towards him. Staring at the black box, Xiao Juanhao looked puzzled. What's in it? Your highness, open it and you'll see. Upon Jiang Yan's words, Xiao Juanhao immediately opened the box. The moment he did, his eyes widened in surprise. Inside the box were neatly placed promissory notes of silver, a vast amount. What are you doing? And as far as one remember, almost all assets from the King Chujiang's mansion were handed over. Where did this come from? Jiang Yan adjusted her sleeves and said, You might have heard about the recent severe disaster affecting the common people. Although the emperor hasn't taken any measures yet, it won't be long before he issues a decree. When that time comes, those with money can help solve the emperor's urgent needs. Indeed, the private treasury of the King Chujiang's mansion was turned over, but even a dying camel is still bigger than a horse. The wealth accumulated over the years by our mansion couldn't have been entirely taken. All the silver one have is in this box. I'm giving this to you personally, just to show you my loyalty. I know I'm not the princess consort you wanted, but I was bestowed to you by the emperor, so I will do everything in my power to help you achieve your goals. I hope you can see my sincerity. Throughout her speech, Jiang Yan's tone was calm, but looking into her eyes, Xiao Juanhao saw boundless ambition. Seemingly struck by a thought, Xiao Juanhao suddenly laughed. One guess no one expected that a princess consort, a woman, would have such grand ambitions. Hearing Xiao Junhao's words, Jiang Yan simply smiled faintly. After a while, Xiao Juanhao put away the silver notes given by Jiang Yan, then whispered, Now that the princess consort is married into my mansion, you will always be my people. Thank you, your highness. Inside, Xiao Juanhao and Jiang Yan chatted amicably, but no one noticed Lin Mengyao, who stood stiffly outside the door. Clutching her palms tightly, the laughter from the room seemed piercingly loud to her ears. Did she really make the right choice? In the end, Lin Mengyao didn't enter. She turned and walked towards her courtyard. But as she reached the corner, a familiar voice called out from behind, Side Consort Lin. Upon hearing the voice, a complicated emotion surfaced in Lin Mengyao's eyes. Then she smiled and turned around. Greetings, Princess Consort. Approaching Jiang Yan, Lin Mengyao knelt down in a sign of respect. Jiang Yan silently observed the woman before her, not saying a word. Unless Jiang Yan gave the word, Lin Mengyao would have to remain in this bowed position. As her legs began to tremble slightly from holding the pose, Jiang Yan finally spoke, Rise. Thank you, Princess Consort. Side Consort Lin, do you regret marrying into the Qing mansion now? Hearing Jiang Yan's words, Lin Mengyao's heart skipped a beat, but she maintained her smile. Why would Princess Consort say that? Even though I am from the King Chujiang mansion, I am merely a common daughter. From a young age, I've understood one thing. If you want something, you have to fight for it. If I hadn't married into the Prince Qing's mansion, we wouldn't be related. But now that I have, Side Consort Lin, one hope you remain cautious. Remember your status as a concubine. I know you harbor resentment, and without me, you might have been the princess consort of Qing Mansion. But I am here now, and that's fate. Princess Consort, what exactly are you getting at? By this time, Lin Mengyao couldn't hold back any longer. However, just as she was about to reply, Jiang Yan raised her hand and slapped her across the face. Having practiced martial arts since childhood, Jiang Yan's slap was not light. Lin Mengyao was thrown onto the ground. Covering her face, Lin Mengyao's eyes were filled with rage when she looked up at Jiang Yan. This slap is a reminder for you. The Lin family is now led by Lin Xingqian. Now you have lost everything. So, don't try to reach for what doesn't belong to you. Having said that, Jiang Yan, with the support of her maid, left. Lin Mengyao sat on the ground, silent for a long time. Side concubine, let me help you up. It was only after Jiang Yan had left that Lin Mingio's maid came forward to help her up. Seeing the swelling on Lin Mingio's face, the maid whispered, "How could the princess consort hit you for no reason? You should tell His Highness and let him decide." "Shut up." Lin Mingyao turned, her eyes coldly staring at her maid. "No one is allowed to tell His Highness about this." Of these events within the Prince Qing's mansion, Jiang Peihuan was unaware. That evening, Han Feng rushed into Jiang Peihuan's courtyard. Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan were playing chess, but when they saw the flustered Han Feng, they put down their chess pieces. "Master, I have news." After investigation, the arrows were found in 2 places. One is in the Prince Huainan's mansion, and the other is in the Prince Qing's mansion. "Did you find out how these arrows got out?" Jiang Peihuan asked. Hearing her words, Han Feng nodded, but his eyes revealed a bit of difficulty. "These arrows came from the great general." "You mean from my father?" Han Feng didn't respond but simply nodded. Seeing his affirmation, Jiang Peihuan's face turned sour. It was unfathomable to Jiang Peihuan that these arrows had been distributed from Jiang Hong. Standing up, Jiang Peihuan said to the man opposite her, "Xiao Nani, I need to discuss this with my father. Will you come with me?" "Yes, 111 go with you." Xiao Nani nodded and left with Jiang Peihuan. Jiang Hong happened to be at home that day. Seeing Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani entering the courtyard, he smiled gently. "Huan heir, why have you and King Qing come here?" "Father, I have something important to discuss with you." Chapter 296. Investigation. "Huan heir, what do you want to tell me?" Seeing the seriousness in Jiang Peihuan's eyes, Jiang Hong whispered. After sitting down in the chair opposite Jiang Hong, Jiang Peihuan talked about the investigation of Xiao Nani, and then continued, "Father, these bows and arrows came from you." Hearing this, Jiang Hong frowned. A moment later he softly said, "Those in charge of casting the bows and arrows have been with me for many years." "Father, Meng Yi has also been with you for many years." Jiang Peihuan responded coldly to Jiang Hong's words. Hearing Meng Yi's name, Jiang Hong's expression instantly darkened. After a moment of silence, he turned to Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani. "I understand. 111 have someone investigate this. I'll wait for your news." Seeing Jiang Hong nod, Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani left Yanlin. After leaving Yanlin, Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani went straight back to Plum Garden without going out again. That night, Jiang Hong didn't sleep. Early the next morning, Jiang Peihuan's door was knocked on by Yu Er. When the knocking sounded, Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan opened their eyes and both looked at the door. "King, Queen Cheng, the great general wants to see you." Hearing this, Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan glanced at each other and got up together. Yu Er came forward to assist Jiang Peihuan, while Xiao Nani quickly prepared himself. Both were very efficient, and they left their room shortly after. As soon as they reached the courtyard, Jiang Peihuan saw the waiting Deputy General Lu. "King Queen Cheng." Seeing Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan, Deputy General Lu quickly stepped forward to salute. After a gesture towards him, Jiang Peihuan softly said, "Father sent you to fetch us." "Yes, the general asked me to take you both to a place." Without saying anything, Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani left the general's mansion. The 3 of them rode to a house in the suburbs. Entering the courtyard with Deputy General Lu, Jiang Peihuan heard cursing from inside. "Jiang Hong, you'll get your retribution." Hearing this voice, a look of displeasure and a hint of anger appeared in Jiang Peihuan's eyes. A man was tied up, pinned to the ground. Jiang Peihuan recognized him as one of Jiang Hong's generals, close to Meng Yi, named Wang Ke. At that moment, Wang Ke's eyes were filled with resentment, glaring at Jiang Hong with hatred. In contrast, Jiang Hong's expression was quite calm. Hearing footsteps, Jiang Hong turned to the entrance. When he saw Jiang Peihuan, his eyes softened. "Huan heir, King Cheng. It seems father has found the traitor." It was Xiao Nani who spoke. Looking at Wang Ke on the ground, a faint smile appeared on Xiao Nani's lips. But that smile had a cold undertone, and upon closer inspection, it was also a bit bloodthirsty. Upon hearing Xiao Nanyes's words, Jiang Hong nodded and then said softly, "It has been confirmed that he is the one who sent out those bows and arrows. So what if one sent them out? This is all your retribution, Jiang Hong. Wang Ku, I always treated you fairly. Why did you do this?" Jiang Hong had been silent, but at this point, he couldn't help but address Wang Ku directly. Hearing this, Wang Ku let out a burst of laughter, as if he had heard a joke. Looking at Jiang Hong, he said mockingly, "You actually ask me why? Have you forgotten how Brother Meng died? So, all of this was in revenge for Meng Yi. You make it sound so noble. You just wanted wealth and glory." As soon as Jiang Hong finished speaking, Xiao Nani, standing next to Jiang Peihuan, let out a derisive laugh. Hearing this, Wang Ku looked at Xiao Nani with a gloomy expression. Meeting his gaze, Xiao Nani continued, "Did one get it wrong? All you did was because Prince Qing promised you wealth. Why use a dead man as an excuse?" As he spoke the last sentence, Xiao Nanyes's eyes were filled with contempt. Wang Ku, whose eyes were already filled with anger, hissed, "You're talking nonsense." Heh. Facing Wang Ke's ferocity, Xiao Nani chuckled. Xiao Nani looked at Jiang Hong and asked, "Father, are you aware of Wang Ke's financial situation? He has been impoverished since childhood. Most soldiers come from poor families. Those from slightly better backgrounds usually choose the path of academia. Studying requires money, but being a soldier does not. Not only is there no tuition, but there's also a monthly salary. If one remember correctly, a captain like you would earn only 100 or so taels a year without indulging in any luxuries. Yet you have tens of thousands of silver notes at home. You better not tell me that's your family's private property." On the way here, Jiang Peihuan learned from General Deputy Liu that Wang Ku was the traitor. Immediately, she and Xiao Nani went to Wang Ke's house to look for evidence. Hearing Xiao Nanyes's words, Wang Ke's already dark expression darkened even further. He wanted to refute, but he couldn't find the words. Upon hearing this, Jiang Hong was stunned. After a long pause, he looked at Wang Ku and said, "I never dreamed that one day you would betray your original intentions for such external possessions. You nobles wouldn't understand our suffering." Upon hearing this, Jiang Hong frowned. Before he could say more, Jiang Peihuan stepped forward and held Jiang Hong's hand. "Father, from the moment he chose to betray you, he wasn't worth your attention. Today is the last day the emperor granted me and King Cheng. Leave him to us." Looking at Wang Ku on the ground, Jiang Hong wanted to say something, but in the end, he simply looked at Jiang Peihuan and said, "All right, I'll leave him to you." After saying that, Jiang Hong left with Deputy General Liu. Wang Ku watched Jiang Hong's retreating figure with a complicated expression. After Jiang Hong left, the warmth in Jiang Peihuan's eyes disappeared instantly. Looking at Wang Ku, she directly asked, "When did you start colluding with Prince Qing?" Hearing Jiang Peihuan's question, Wang Ku looked up at her, but his eyes were full of disdain and mockery. He remained silent as if he hadn't heard her at all. "The queen is talking to you. Are you deaf?" Chapter 297. Escape. Upon seeing Wang Ke's attitude, Han Feng, who was standing nearby, stepped forward, kicking Wang Ke squarely, causing him to immediately spit out blood. Yet even so, Wang Ke looked at Jiang Peihuan with mocking eyes. "One never even took your father seriously. As for you, I care even less. It doesn't matter whether you take me seriously or not. What matters is, do you care about your family?" "What do you mean?" Hearing this, a hint of panic flashed in Wang Ke's eyes. Jiang Peihuan, however, remained composed. She didn't look at Wang Ku, but instead signaled to Han Feng. A moment later, a young boy was brought over. The boy, who appeared to be around 3 or 4 years old, began to cry out upon seeing Wang Ku. "Su'er." Upon seeing his son, Wang Ke's expression changed. Gazing darkly at Jiang Peihuan, Wang Ku coldly said, "What did you do with my son?" "Of course, it's to threaten you." "You." Hearing Jiang Peihuan's candid response, Wang Ku was so infuriated he was at a loss for words. The boy continued to cry out for his father. Hearing his son's cries, Wang Ke's eyes were filled with conflict and his gaze towards Jiang Peihuan became more resentful. I never imagined Jiang Hong would have such a ruthless daughter. My father was indeed very generous to you all, but didn't each of you betray him? Facing Wang Ke's accusations, Jiang Peihuan responded calmly. Having returned from the dead, she only remembered Meng Yi as the main culprit, but had forgotten about those associated with him. Wang Ku, my patience is limited. Will you talk or not? At Jiang Peihuan's indication, Han Feng drew a dagger, aiming it at Wang Ke's son's throat. Seeing this, pure panic filled Wang Ke's eyes. After a long pause, he finally murmured, "I'll talk, I'll talk." Subsequently, Wang Ku recounted his collaboration and deals with Prince Qing. After he finished, he looked at Jiang Peihuan. "I've told you everything you wanted to know. Can you now release my son?" "Not just yet. Later, I'll take you to the emperor. Only after you repeat everything in his presence will one release your son." After saying this, Jiang Peihuan signaled Han Feng, who then carried the boy away. Watching this, Wang Ke's eyes darkened. He didn't look at Jiang Peihuan but turned to Xiao Nani instead. "King Cheng, they say hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Would you really keep such a woman by your side, without fearing for your life?" "I admire her ruthlessness," replied Xiao Nani. "If she truly desires my life, one would gladly offer it to her." Wang Ku was speechless. He had intended to sow discord between Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan, but he didn't expect such an answer from Xiao Nani. That night, Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani took Wang Ku into the palace, the Qianqing Hall. Emperor Qi Ming was clearly waiting for the two of them. Seeing the two bowing to him, he asked in a calm voice, "How did it go? Today is the last day. Have you found out everything?" "It's all clear. The deaths of those two have nothing to do with Huan Heir. It's all the scheming of Prince Qing behind the scenes," Xiao Nani answered immediately. The emperor, who was reviewing official documents, paused his brush when he heard this. Setting the brush down, he looked at Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan and asked, "You say the culprit behind this is Prince Qing. Do you have any evidence?" Soon after, Wang Ku was brought before Emperor Qi Ming. Without needing Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan to prompt him, Wang Ku repeated everything he had previously disclosed. Upon hearing Wang Ke's words, the emperor's eyes burned with anger. Looking to Wang Ku at his side, he ordered coldly, "Summon Prince Qing." Yes. Though the distance from Prince Qing's mansion to the palace was quite considerable, Xiao Juanhao appeared before the emperor within an hour. Entering the Qianqing Hall, Xiao Juanhao seemed to have a sense of what was happening. Approaching the emperor, he greeted, "One greets Imperial Father." "Prince Qing, you're quite audacious, daring to plot against the first prince of the grassland tribes." "Imperial Father, I am wronged," exclaimed Xiao Juanhao, immediately kneeling. "You claim to be wronged, but do you dare deny knowing Wang Ku, or having dealings with him?" "Imperial Father, one indeed have associations with General Wang, but the death of Prince Hachi really has no connection to me. One have been occupied with the disaster areas recently." "You've been busy with the disaster areas?" "Yes, even though the heavy snow has ceased, the people still suffer greatly. During this time, I have been focusing on the disaster relief. If Imperial Father doesn't believe me, you can inquire with the officials. Moreover, one have already thought of a solution to aid the victims." "What solution?" Hearing Xiao Juanhao mention the disaster areas, Emperor Qi Ming immediately forgot about the deaths. "I would like to discuss the solution privately with Imperial Father," whispered Xiao Juanhao, casting a glance at Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan. While others might have missed it, Jiang Peihuan clearly saw the smug look in Xiao Junhao's eyes. With a hint of displeasure, Emperor Qi Ming still agreed, and they retreated to the inner hall. Once seated, the emperor coldly said, "Now you can speak." "Imperial Father, this is the solution I have in mind." As he spoke, Xiao Juanhao placed a black wooden box in front of the emperor. This box was previously given to him by Jiang Yan. Originally, he planned to present this sum of silver later when the disaster worsened. However, upon hearing of Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan's entrance into the palace, he realized his plan had been exposed, and hence brought the box with him. When Emperor Qi Ming saw the banknotes in the box, his eyes were filled with surprise. Outside, Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani waited quietly. Seeing the silver notes inside the box, the emperor's eyes widened in surprise. Outside, Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani waited in silence. After a while, Emperor Qi Ming emerged, followed by Xiao Juanhao. "The matter has been clarified. It was a misunderstanding," declared the emperor. "You two can go home now." Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan exchanged glances, both sensing each other's surprise. Without uttering a word, they bowed and left. Once outside the palace, Xiao Nani remarked, "It seems this matter will be left unresolved." "It's likely that Prince Qing promised some benefits to Emperor Qi Ming," Jiang Peihuan speculated. "That's a given," Xiao Nani responded with a hint of sarcasm in his eyes. Jiang Peihuan remained silent, having already known much about Emperor Qi Ming from her previous life. Chapter 298. Exploring Huainan Mansion at night as an emperor. He did not have the wisdom of an emperor at all. But in front of Xiao Nani, Jiang Peihuan didn't want to say this. Inside the carriage, everyone fell silent. It wasn't until they returned to the general's mansion that Jiang Peihuan called Yi Xiao, "Queen Cheng." After bowing to the two, Yi Xiao then turned to Jiang Peihuan and said, "My queen, what do you need from me?" "Yes, go to the Huainan mansion and arrange a meeting with the Prince Huainan." "Yes." Upon hearing Jiang Peihuan's instructions, Yi Xiao nodded and then left. After Yi Xiao left, Xiao Nani turned to Jiang Peihuan and asked, "Are you trying to investigate the matter of the Huainan prince's mansion taking the Jiang family's bows and arrows?" "Yes. Although the matter with the Prince Qing mansion has been settled, I believe that the Prince Qing will not act rashly for a while. But I don't know what the Huainan mansion wants. To prevent this from happening again, one need to understand the situation." Jiang Peihuan didn't want to have any contact with the people in Huainan mansion. But she had to investigate this matter, so seeking out Zhao Yong seemed like a good approach. Although Zhao Yong was also a member of the Huainan mansion, Jiang Peihuan had a good impression of him. "When I go to see the Huainan prince, do you want to come with me?" "Yes, I'll accompany you." As soon as Xiao Nani finished speaking, Yi Xiao returned. Although the general's mansion was not far from the Huainan mansion, it was still a distance away. Seeing Yi Xiao return so quickly, Jiang Peihuan looked puzzled. After Yi Xiao bowed, she asked directly, "What did the Huainan prince say?" "I didn't meet Prince Huainan." "You didn't?" Hearing Yi Xiao's words, Jiang Peihuan was full of confusion. Facing Jiang Peihuan's puzzled expression, Yi Xiao spoke softly. "One went to the Huainan mansion, but the servants said that the prince is not receiving guests." Hearing this, Jiang Peihuan frowned. "However, my queen, I noticed something strange. It seems that all the servants of the Huainan mansion have been replaced." "All of them?" "Yes." Yi Xiao, being from the secret guards, has a keen sense for these things. Even if she had only seen someone once, she would remember. But the people she saw at the Huainan mansion today, she was certain she had never seen them before. If it were one or two people, it could be overlooked, but if everyone was unfamiliar, then it was unusual. Logically speaking, the servants of wealthy families won't change often, Jiang Peihuan whispered. Xiao Nani, who was standing beside Jiang Peihuan, said in a low voice, "Unless something happened, like servants being killed or injured." Saying this, the two exchanged a look. If you want to know what happened at the Huainan mansion, you can go and take a look. A moment later, Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan changed into black clothes and went to the Huainan mansion. As soon as she entered the Huainan mansion, Jiang Peihuan felt that something was strange. Because Zhao Yong was now the prince of Huainan, his residence would be in the front yard. Jiang Peihuan had been to Huainan mansion before, so she was somewhat familiar with its layout. She held Xiao Nani's hand and headed directly towards the front courtyard. However, just as she took a step forward, a scream came from the backyard. The two exchanged a glance and immediately headed to the backyard. In the backyard, they arrived at Chu Ran's residence within the Huainan mansion. All of the prince's servants were kneeling on the ground. Many were already dead. Blood dripped from the mouths of both the King Huainan and Zhao Yong. Only Chu Ran was seated calmly on a chair, with Zhao Fucking by her side. Zhao Fucking had only one leg and looked extremely grim. At the moment he was staring menacingly at King Huainan, Zhao Yang, and Zhao Yong. King Huainan, with rage in his eyes, shouted at Chu Rou. Chu Rou, how dare you poison me? What do you want? I should be the one asking you this. You despise Qing heir for becoming a cripple, so you want to support that bastard to ascend the throne. This is impossible. Chu Ran's eyes burned with anger. She had been patiently waiting for this moment. You've gone mad, Zhao Yang said coldly, not looking at Chu Rou, but at Zhao Fucking on the chair. Has your mother's madness infected you as well? Would you dare commit patricide? Zhao Fucking responded defiantly. Why wouldn't I dare? In your eyes, you've never seen me as your son. Why should one see you as my father? Zhao Yang was taken aback. What nonsense are you spouting? Zhao Fucking replied. Isn't that what you truly think? Zhao Fucking stood slowly, using a cane for support, and drew his sword. You always said I was useless. But why did one end up this way? Isn't it because of your schemes? He continued. From childhood, you never truly guided me. Instead, you constantly oppressed me. You did all this just to pave the way for the son you truly cherished. As he spoke, Zhao Fucking slowly rose to his feet. He leaned half of his body on his cane, and then directly drew out his long sword. Holding the cane, Zhao Fucking slowly approached the Huainan king Zhao Yang. You're right, today one intend to commit patricide. Zhao Fucking, you'd kill him? He is your biological father. Seeing Zhao Fucking's actions, Zhao Yong immediately stood in front of Zhao Yang, looking at Zhao Fucking with a troubled expression. Upon hearing Zhao Yong's voice, Zhao Fucking's already grim face darkened even more. Looking at Zhao Yong, Zhao Fucking said with fury eyes, Shut up. Who do you think you are? What gives you the right to speak to me? If it weren't for you, I would still be the Prince of Huainan, not a cripple. Finishing his words, Zhao Fucking suddenly laughed, looking at Zhao Yang. You adore this son of yours, don't you? Well, I'll kill him right in front of you and let you taste the pain of heartbreak. As his voice trailed off, the sword in Zhao Fucking's hand was thrust directly at Zhao Yong. Seeing his move, Zhao Yong's eyes widened. But suddenly, a black whip descended from the sky, wrapping itself around Zhao Fucking's sword. Then Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani appeared in front of everyone. What a grand drama! Removing the cloth from his face, Xiao Nani spoke with a smile. Jiang Peihuan. Zhao Fucking looked at the black whip entangling his sword, his eyes filled with gloom as he stared at Jiang Peihuan standing opposite him. Although Jiang Peihuan's face was veiled, Zhao Fucking recognized the whip. Upon hearing his words, Jiang Peihuan directly removed the cloth from her face, but did not step back. Chapter 299. The unforeseen event in the Huainan mansion. Looking at Jiang Peihuan's revealed face, Zhao Fucking's eyes darkened even more. What, you want to save him? With just the two of you? Without waiting for Jiang Peihuan to reply, Zhao Fucking responded with a mocking look. At this moment, Xiao Nani also stood beside Jiang Peihuan. Then the uniform sound of footsteps reached their ears. Both Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan turned their heads to see a formation of soldiers marching toward them. Seeing this, both Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani displayed worried expressions. However, a smile appeared in Zhao Fucking's eyes. Looking at Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan, he remarked lightly, I know you both are highly skilled in martial arts, but can you take on so many at once? Jiang Peihuan, you had a hand in crippling my leg. I initially planned to confront you later, but since you've come to me today, I'll accommodate you. As he finished speaking, Zhao Fucking retreated a couple of steps. Immediately, the soldiers surrounded the duo. Watching the encircled Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan, Zhao Fucking ordered coldly, kill them. Qing heir, if Xiao Nani is killed, the palace will surely investigate this matter, said Chu Rou, who was seated in the main position, her eyes showing conflict. She didn't care about Jiang Peihuan's fate, disregarding the general's daughter. However, she did have reservations about Xiao Nani, who was after all the emperor's brother. Hearing Chu Rou, Zhao Fucking appeared indifferent. Mother, do you think we have any way out now? At this, Chu Rou remained silent. Attack! Upon Zhao Fucking's command, the soldiers drew their daggers. Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan exchanged glances and began to fight back to back. Shortly after, Jiang Peihuan realized that these soldiers had been specially trained. The situation was highly unfavorable. Jiang Peihuan was most worried about the poison within Xiao Nani. Though suppressed, exerting himself too much could trigger it. Keeping this in mind, Jiang Peihuan's moves became increasingly fierce and swift. Initially, they managed with ease, but as more soldiers joined, the two began to struggle. Zhao Fucking watched with a smug grin. Now with only one leg, Zhao Fucking couldn't stand for long, so he took a seat. He watched them triumphantly. Today is your end. Before he could finish, he felt intense pain from behind. Turning around, Zhao Fucking saw Huainan King standing behind him. Turning his head, Zhong Fucking saw the Prince of Huainan standing behind him. Following the direction of the king's Huainan, Zhao Fucking's eyes landed on the long sword in the hands of his own father. Qing Air. When the king Huainan pulled out his sword, Zhong Fucking fell off his chair. Hearing the commotion, everyone instinctively looked over. Chu Rou, the queen of Huainan Mansion, saw Zhao Fucking on the ground. Her eyes widened in shock, followed by a scream of rage. Zhao Fucking has already fallen. Do you still wish to continue fighting? Upon witnessing this, Jiang Peihuan's eyes revealed a hint of complexity. But in a moment, she addressed the encircling soldiers. When the soldiers heard Jiang Peihuan's voice, their eyes were filled with conflict. At this juncture, Xiao Nani spoke in a cold voice. Drop your weapons. If you do, one can overlook today's incident. Otherwise, he left the threat hanging, but the implication was clear from his tone. Hearing Xiao Nani's words, the soldiers began to lower their weapons. Zhao Yang, I'm going to kill you. How could you kill your own son? Chu Rou, looking at the wound on Zhao Fucking, suddenly lunged at Zhao Yang. Zhao Yang, caught off guard, never anticipated that Chu Rou would attack him, so she managed to scratch his face. Chu Rou's nails were sharp, leaving visible marks on Zhao Yang's face. Touching his face and seeing the blood, Zhao Yang's eyes were filled with darkness. As Chu Rou lunged again, Zhao Yang grabbed her wrist and flung her to the ground. Chu Rou, lying on the ground, glared at Zhao Yang, her eyes filled with hatred. Take the queen back to her room. She is not to leave without my permission. After Zhao Yang's words, Chu Rou was quickly escorted away. It seems, King Huainan, you were never poisoned at all. Jiang Peihuan said this. Hearing her words, Zhao Yang looked at her. As their eyes met, Jiang Peihuan's expression changed. Huan Air, be careful. No one expected Zhao Yang to suddenly attack. Although Jiang Peihuan reacted quickly, Zhao Yang was faster. Just as the sword was about to pierce Jiang Peihuan's heart, Xiao Nani pulled her hand, effectively deflecting Zhao Yang's blade. Holding Jiang Peihuan, Xiao Nani looked darkly at Zhao Yang, saying coldly, It seems tonight was just a trap you set. You purposely used the Jiang family's arrows as bait to lure both of us here. I just wonder if you will face retribution for even killing your own son to achieve your goals. There was undeniable mockery in Xiao Nani's eyes as he finished. Zhao Yang, after hearing this, gave Zhao Fucking's corpse a glance and whispered, Those who wish to achieve great things do not get bogged down by trifles, especially when Zhao Fucking isn't your biological son. Jiang Peihuan interrupted before Zhao Yang could finish. Upon hearing Jiang Peihuan's words, surprise flashed across Zhao Yang's eyes, which quickly turned cold. Looking at Jiang Peihuan, he said coldly, I didn't expect you to know this secret. How did you find out? How she found out was naturally from her knowledge in her past life. In her previous life, Xiao Juanhao, aiming to win over the Huainan prince's residence, had someone monitor Zhao Yang's every move. Through investigation, Xiao Juanhao learned that Zhao Fucking was not Zhao Yang's biological son. This was a major reason why the Huainan prince's residence later leaned towards Xiao Juanhao. After all, no man wants his scandal to be public knowledge. How one found out isn't important. I just want to know, if this news gets out, how will the King Huainan face the talk of the town? Haha. Hearing Jiang Peihuan's words, Zhao Yang laughed as if he heard a delightful joke. However, there was not a hint of amusement in his eyes, only ruthlessness. Chapter 300. Poison. Looking at Jiang Peihuan, Zhao Yang coldly said, "It's simple. If you die, no one in this world will know the secret." "You're so confident you can kill the two of us?" "If King Cheng had not been poisoned, I wouldn't be confident. But I know that the poison in King Cheng's body has not been completely cleared, so today is the day you two die." Saying this, Zhao Yang raised his long sword. "By you alone?" Seeing Zhao Yang rushing towards him, Xiao Nanya's eyes revealed a hint of mockery. However, as he clashed with Zhao Yang, a coldness also appeared in his eyes. Standing by, Jiang Peihuan noticed Zhao Yang's fierce moves and her expression became tense. She recognized that Zhao Yang was the same mysterious man who had previously pursued them in the western regions. Now, she finally understood why Zhao Yang insisted on luring them here. At first, she thought it was because of her, but it seemed the trap was set for Xiao Nani. Zhao Yang was strong, a master in martial arts. As Xiao Nani began to struggle, Jiang Peihuan quickly stepped forward to help. Facing Jiang Peihuan's assistance, Zhao Yang's eyes showed no change, but he mocked. "Neither of you is a match for me. It's better to die now and suffer less." As his words fell, he struck Xiao Nani away with a palm, then aimed his sword at Jiang Peihuan. "Now let's see who can save you." Jiang Peihuan could clearly feel the threatening presence of the blade. Huan air. Having been pushed back, Xiao Nani looked on with concern. Jiang Peihuan instinctively closed her eyes. However, the expected pain did not come. Instead, she heard Zhao Yang's angry shout. "What do you think you're doing?" There was fury in Zhao Yang's tone. When she opened her eyes, she saw Zhao Yong, standing in front of her, protecting her. Zhao Yong was still weak, but he blocked Zhao Yang. He whispered, "Father, if anything happens to Miss Jiang and King Cheng, it will cause a lot of trouble. Please stop. Get out of the way." Despite Zhao Yong's reasoning, Zhao Yang angrily rebuked him. However, Zhao Yong remained unmoved. At this moment, Xiao Nani joined the fight again. Feeling the onset of the poison inside him, Xiao Nanya's moves became increasingly aggressive. Both Jiang Peihuan and Zhao Yong stepped in to help. Jiang Peihuan and Zhao Yong also stepped forward to help. With their combined effort, Xiao Nani landed a kick on Zhao Yang's chest, sending him flying. Jiang Peihuan was about to deliver a finishing blow when she saw a sword piercing Zhao Yang's heart. The one who attacked was none other than Chu Rou, who was taken away just moments ago. At this moment, Chu Ran's eyes were full of rage. Holding the sword's hilt tightly, her eyes were fixed on Zhao Yang. "What did you mean earlier? Why did you say Qing Er is not your biological son?" "Why?" Chu Ran's eyes were filled with a crimson rage. On the other hand, Zhao Yang, with a sword plunged into his heart, had eyes filled with unwillingness and resentment. He wanted to say something, but he couldn't make a sound. In the end, Chu Rou never got the answer she was looking for, as Zhao Yang drew his last breath and died. "Xiao Nani." Jiang Peihuan turned to see Xiao Nani, whose face was pale as a ghost. When she touched his hand, she found it icy cold. Zhao Yong had a complex look in his eyes. Seeing Xiao Nani in such a state, he said to Jiang Peihuan, "His Highness is suffering from the effects of the poison. We should go to my chambers." Having said that, Zhao Yong picked up Xiao Nani. Jiang Peihuan didn't refuse and followed. "Please prepare the herbs and hot water for me." By the time Zhao Yong laid Xiao Nani on the bed, Jiang Peihuan had already written down the prescription. Receiving the prescription from her, Zhao Yong left without a word. Shortly after, everything Jiang Peihuan needed was brought to the room. Xiao Nani was shivering uncontrollably, his lips turning purple. Jiang Peihuan undressed him and helped him into a bath. The water in the tub was hot, but as Xiao Nani entered, the temperature rapidly cooled down. Witnessing this, Jiang Peihuan frowned. The herbal medicine had some effect, but it was not enough. Taking out her silver needles, she started to perform acupuncture on Xiao Nani. An hour later, Xiao Nanya's complexion began to warm up. Just as Jiang Peihuan was putting away her needles, there was a knock at the door. "Queen Cheng?" It was Han Feng's voice. Hearing him, Jiang Peihuan immediately said, "Come in." As soon as Jiang Peihuan's voice fell, the door was pushed open from the outside. Subsequently, Han Feng and Yi Xiao walked into the room together. "Master?" Seeing Xiao Nani sitting in the bathtub, concern filled Han Feng's eyes. "My queen, are you all right?" Yi Xiao, on the other hand, turned her gaze to Jiang Peihuan. Her eyes were also full of worry. As she spoke, she instinctively examined Jiang Peihuan, and only when she noticed that Jiang Peihuan was not injured did she let out a sigh of relief. Seeing the concern in Yi Xiao's eyes, Jiang Peihuan softly said, "I'm fine." Then Jiang Peihuan addressed Han Feng. "Get ready, we're going back to the mansion." "Yes." Jiang Peihuan helped Xiao Nani get dressed, and once everything was set, Zhao Yong arrived. The poison in his body had not yet been neutralized. However, at this point, Jiang Peihuan couldn't be concerned about him. Looking at the person standing in front of her, she softly asked, "What are your plans moving forward?" "I plan to enter the palace tomorrow to report the truth to the emperor. As for how the emperor decides to handle it, I will abide by his decree. Thank you for today." After a moment of thought, Zhao Yong sincerely thanked Jiang Peihuan. "There's no need for thanks, I didn't really do much." Having said that, Jiang Peihuan immediately departed. After leaving the Huainan mansion, the group hastily made their way to the plum garden. However, as soon as Jiang Peihuan entered the plum garden, she saw Qingyang waiting there, holding a few medical books in her hands. "Master." If it weren't for Qingyang's sudden appearance, Jiang Peihuan might have almost forgotten about her. Upon seeing Jiang Peihuan, Qingyang quickly stepped forward to pay her respects. "I don't have time to talk to you today, you should go back first." After saying that, Jiang Peihuan proceeded to walk inside, instructing Han Feng and Yi Xiao. "Take Xiao Nani to his room first." As Han Feng carried Xiao Nani towards the room, Qingyang glanced at them a few times, her brows furrowing when she saw Xiao Nani. After a moment of thought, she decided to follow them. Chapter 301. Curing the poison. When Jiang Peihuan entered the room, she noticed that Qingyang had also followed her in. She immediately frowned. "Qingyang, I really don't have the time to deal with you today. You." "Master, are you distressed about the cold poison inside King Cheng's body?" Upon hearing Qingyang's words, Jiang Peihuan furrowed her brows but still gently asked, "How do you know about the cold poison inside his body?" "It's written in the medical book." While speaking, Qingyang handed a medical book to Jiang Peihuan. Upon hearing this, Jiang Peihuan instinctively looked at the book. She then realized that this was the book that Xiao Nani had once sent her, though she had never had the time to read it. Taking the medical book from Qingyang, Jiang Peihuan carefully read its contents. By the end, her eyes reflected her internal struggle. "Queen, is there a cure for the master's poison?" While Jiang Peihuan was reading, Han Feng didn't dare to disturb her. However, when she closed the book, he couldn't help himself anymore. Hearing Han Feng's words, Jiang Peihuan nodded. "According to the medical book, there is indeed a way to counteract the cold poison inside Xiao Nani, but I've never seen such a method." Noticing the puzzled expressions on the faces of the others, Jiang Peihuan continued. "The book mentions that to counteract the cold poison, one must use poison against poison. We should gather poisonous scorpions, snakes, centipedes, and similar creatures, and then place Xiao Nani amongst them. But these are all highly venomous creatures. How can we leave the master among them?" Huan air. At this moment, the soft voice of Xiao Nani from the bed reached their ears. Hearing his voice, Jiang Peihuan instinctively turned to him. "Xiao Nani, are you awake? Do you feel discomfort anywhere?" Upon hearing Jiang Peihuan's question, Xiao Nani shook his head. He then looked at her and softly said, "One heard what you just mentioned. I think it's worth a try." "Master?" Before Jiang Peihuan could speak, Han Feng, with evident disagreement in his eyes, exclaimed. Hearing him, Xiao Nani gave him a cold glance. "Even if I get bitten to death, it's me who dies. Why are you so concerned?" Han Feng was speechless. Seeing hesitation in Jiang Peihuan's eyes, Xiao Nani continued. This medical book comes from the Medicine King Valley. Given that this method appears in it, there must be some feasibility to it. But as mentioned in the book, we need highly poisonous creatures. Where can we find them so quickly? Queen, I know someone who has them. Before Jiang Peihuan could finish speaking, Han Feng quickly interjected. Seeing her puzzled expression, he continued, Young Master Chu has them. An hour later, Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani, along with others, went to the previously mentioned mansion. Not only was Chu Heng there, but Rong Emo was present too. Upon seeing Cheng Yang, Rong Mo's expression changed instantly. Rong Emo, one didn't come for you today, but to learn medical techniques. Hearing Cheng Yang's words, doubt filled Rong Mo's eyes. Seeing this, Jiang Peihuan stepped forward, whispering, What Cheng Yang said is true. After saying that, Jiang Peihuan looked at Chu Heng, recounting Xiao Nanya's situation, and then continued. Han Feng mentioned that young Master Chu has these poisonous creatures, so? I indeed have these creatures, but they're my pets. Upon hearing the word pets, Jiang Peihuan's eyes flickered. Forget it. King Cheng's life is more important. Follow me. With that, Chu Heng headed inside the house. Seeing this, both Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani followed him. Upon entering the house, Chu Heng pressed something on a painting on the wall, and the wall in front of them automatically slid open. Chu Heng led the way, with Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani following closely behind. As soon as they entered, Jiang Peihuan felt a cold sensation, and there was a peculiar smell in the air. As they moved further in, Jiang Peihuan heard a rustling noise. Looking in the direction of the sound, she saw a sight that even her brave self found chilling. There were several pits in the ground, each filled with various venomous creatures, including scorpions, snakes, centipedes, and other creatures Jiang Peihuan had never seen before. Seeing all these, Jiang Peihuan couldn't hide her discomfort. Cheng Yang, on the other hand, screamed out loud. Hearing her scream, Chu Heng glared at her in displeasure. I told you not to come, but you insisted. If you scared my pets, I might just throw you in with them. Are you a devil? Cheng Yang shot back, glaring at him. Chu Heng approached Cheng Yang, but she quickly grabbed Rong Mo's hand for protection. Rong Emo, save me. Enough, stop fooling around, Rong Emo admonished. With his intervention, both Chu Heng and Cheng Yang quieted down. When Rong Emo was born, Chu Heng and Cheng Yang did not make a sound. All eyes turned to Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani. After a moment, Jiang Peihuan softly said to Chu Heng, Young Master Chu, please allow me to take some of these creatures. No problem. Take whatever you need, he replied. But be careful. If you get bitten, it's not my responsibility. Queen, let me handle it, Han Feng immediately volunteered. However, Jiang Peihuan declined his offer. Facing Han Feng, she said, No need, one have a method. In front of everyone, Jiang Peihuan applied a medicine on herself, then wore gloves and used tongs to handle the creatures. She placed the venomous animals into a wooden barrel. Once she had collected enough, she sealed the barrel. An hour later, the venomous creatures were emptied into a large bathtub. Seeing Xiao Nani preparing to undress, Jiang Peihuan was visibly torn. However, Xiao Nani seemed calm. He reassured her, It's all right, don't worry. Jiang Peihuan only nodded in response. Stripping off his outer clothes, Xiao Nani was only in his undergarments as he stepped into the bathtub. Upon sitting down, a look of pain immediately crossed his face. After a moment, Xiao Nani gripped the edge of the tub tightly, yet he didn't make a sound. Jiang Peihuan sat beside him. Seeing the expression on his face, her eyes were filled with concern. She couldn't say or do anything. All she could do was sit silently and wait. At first, Xiao Nani held onto the tub's edge with just one hand. Later, he clung to it with both hands, veins protruding from the back of his hands. Jiang Peihuan clutched a handkerchief tightly, not daring to make a sound. Yet, noticing Jiang Peihuan's worried gaze, Xiao Nani managed to whisper with a gentle smile, Huan Air, please wait outside for me. Chapter 302. Curing the potion. Seeing the expression in Xiao Nanya's eyes, Jiang Peihuan didn't say anything but simply nodded gently. After she stepped out, The expression on Xiao Nanya's face instantly turned fierce. Jiang Peihuan was just outside the door. Even though Xiao Nani didn't make any noise, she occasionally heard muffled grunts from him. Apart from Jiang Peihuan, Han Feng Yi Xiao and others were also waiting at the door. Seeing Jiang Peihuan's state, neither of them dared to approach or say anything. They just stayed quietly by her side. Time passed minute by minute. After more than half an hour, Jiang Peihuan realized there was no sound coming from the room. Jiang Peihuan's face changed instantly, but she forced herself to remain calm. Facing the room's direction, she softly called out, "Xiao Nani?" There was no response. She called out again. When there was no reaction after several calls, Jiang Peihuan could no longer restrain herself and pushed the door open. Seeing this, Han Feng and Yi Xiao immediately followed. "Xiao Nani." Approaching the bathtub, Jiang Peihuan found him leaning over the edge, unconscious. The air was filled with the stench of blood. Xiao Nani was dressed in a white undergarment, but now, half of it was stained bright red with blood. "Master?" Upon witnessing this scene, concern filled Han Feng's eyes. Jiang Peihuan didn't say anything but approached and held Xiao Nanya's hand. Only when she got closer did she notice that all the poisonous creatures in the bathtub were motionless. All of them were dead. Seeing this, Jiang Peihuan's eyes filled with shock. She reached out to check his pulse. Han Feng, observing her actions, dropped his hand and didn't dare to move. After Jiang Peihuan let go of Xiao Nanya's hand, Han Feng quickly asked, "Queen, how is the master?" "The cold poison in his body has been mostly expelled. He's just a bit weak from blood loss. After some good care and rest, he'll be fine." "That's great." Hearing Jiang Peihuan's words, excitement filled Han Feng's eyes. Relief was evident in Jiang Peihuan's eyes as well. Although the method they used was based on what was written in medical books, she had been extremely worried when she saw Xiao Nani go in. But now, Jiang Peihuan felt a bit fortunate. Looking at Han Feng and Yi Xiao, she said softly, "You two prepare clean warm water. I'll change Xiao Nani into clean clothes." "Yes." Knock, knock. After Han Feng and Yi Xiao left, there was a knock on the door. When Jiang Peihuan opened it, she saw Rong Mo, Chu Heng, and Cheng Yang standing there. Seeing Jiang Peihuan, Chu Heng spoke first. "I heard from Han Feng that King Cheng is all right now." "Yes, and I must thank you, young Master Chu. As long as the poison inside King Cheng can be removed, it's nothing. But when he wakes up, I still need to. Since King Cheng is okay, I won't disturb the queen anymore." Before Chu Heng could finish speaking, he was abruptly interrupted by Rong Mo. As Rong Mo spoke, he directly dragged Chu Heng away. "Master, I'll come to see you later." Cheng Yang quickly stepped forward as he watched Rong Mo leave, and after a few words, she chased after Rong Mo. Soon, Han Feng prepared hot water. As Xiao Nani was helped into the bath, Jiang Peihuan's eyes were filled with complex emotions. Xiao Nanya's body was covered with various wounds, all bite marks. Using venom to counteract venom had been effective, but Xiao Nani had suffered immense pain. After carefully applying medicine to Xiao Nanya's wounds, Jiang Peihuan dressed him in clean clothes. By now, it was already late at night. In the early hours, Jiang Peihuan felt an increasing warmth beside her. It felt as though she was getting scalded. She instinctively opened her eyes. Upon waking, Jiang Peihuan realized that Xiao Nani had developed a fever. His temperature was blazing hot, yet his face was as pale as death. Seeing Xiao Nani in this state, Jiang Peihuan was filled with concern. She fetched some warm water and poured out medicine from a porcelain bottle. But no matter how she tried to feed him, Xiao Nani couldn't swallow. In the end, she dissolved the medicine in water and drank it. Approaching the bed, she bent over and directly kissed Xiao Nanya's lips, allowing him to swallow the medicinal liquid. After ensuring he took his medicine, she began to use acupuncture on him. An hour later, Xiao Nanya's complexion improved somewhat. Both of them were soaked in sweat. But Jiang Peihuan ignored her own state and swiftly changed Xiao Nanya's clothes. By dawn, Xiao Nani, who was lying in bed, opened his eyes. He seemed a bit dazed. Noticing the warmth in his palm, he saw Jiang Peihuan by his side. A gentle warmth filled his eyes. Even though he was careful, Jiang Peihuan woke up when he moved his hand. Xiao Nani, you're awake? Seeing him awake, Jiang Peihuan instinctively touched Xiao Nani's forehead. Feeling the normal temperature, she let out a sigh of relief. Your fever's gone. As she spoke, a smile appeared in her eyes. Seeing her smile, the corner of his mouth also lifted. You've worked hard last night, Huan Er. We don't need to say such things. Watching Xiao Nani sit up, Jiang Peihuan continued. Now that you're awake, I'll head back. All right. Xiao Nani had no objections to her plan. However, in the carriage, Jiang Peihuan softly said, although the cold poison inside you has been dispelled, you've lost a lot of blood and need to rest. Once we get back, I plan to bid farewell to my parents and return to the Cheng mansion. Even though she knew her parents wouldn't object, she didn't want to cause any trouble by letting Xiao Nani recuperate in the Jiang residence. Hearing her words, Xiao Nani simply nodded. I'll follow your lead. Upon returning to the general's mansion, Jiang Peihuan went to Yanlin where both Jiang Hong and Shui Yin were present. After a moment of thought, she expressed her intentions to return to the prince's mansion. Hearing her words, before Shui Yin could respond, Jiang Hong interrupted. Didn't you say you were going to stay here for a while? Why the sudden decision to leave? Although he addressed Jiang Peihuan, his gaze was fixed on Xiao Nani. Chapter 303. Zhao Yong entering the palace facing Jiang Hong's expression. Xiao Nani briefly explained his condition. However, regarding the poisoning, Xiao Nani only mentioned it was a leftover from a past battlefield. After all, if you need to recuperate, do it at General Mansion. In the Cheng Mansion, apart from you two as a couple, there are no elders. It might as well be better for King Cheng to recover at General Mansion before returning to the Cheng Mansion. Jiang Hong suggested immediately upon hearing Xiao Nani's words. Yet, Xiao Nani remained silent, turning his gaze to Jiang Peihuan. Seeing her nod, he smiled and addressed Jiang Hong. In that case, thank you, father. You two should dine with me today. 111 instruct the kitchen to prepare some blood-nourishing dishes. Thank you, mother. After breakfast in Yanlin, Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani returned to Plum Garden. Just as they stepped into the courtyard, Jiang Peihuan saw a white figure rushing towards her. Xiaobai had grown significantly. Despite only being a few months old, it now resembled a mature wolf, weighing over 300 pounds. As Xiaobai charged towards Jiang Peihuan, she could feel a gust of wind. Xiaobai, don't mess around. Although Xiaobai was sprinting directly towards her, it halted right in front of her, rubbing its big head affectionately against Jiang Peihuan. If it weren't for the fact that no matter how hard Xiaobai tried, it couldn't wag its tail, Jiang Peihuan would have thought it was a dog rather than a wolf. Looking at Xiaobai circling around her feet, she bent down and gently patted its head. Observing this, Xiao Nani remarked in a slightly irritated tone. Look at yourself. Do you even resemble a wolf anymore? Seemingly understanding his words, Xiaobai bared its teeth at him. Xiao Nani's expression cooled instantly. Dare to bare your teeth at me again and I'll pull them out. Hearing this, Xiaobai retracted its neck, no longer looking at Xiao Nani, and turned its gaze back to Jiang Peihuan. Jiang Peihuan, having grown accustomed to their playful banter, smiled and said, All right, go and play with Lu Er. Upon hearing her words, Xiaobai ran off happily. While the servants of the general's mansion were terrified of Xiaobai, they kept quiet knowing it was Jiang Peihuan's pet. In the following days, Xiao Nani spent most of his time in Jiang Peihuan's plum garden. Jiang Peihuan dedicated herself to helping Xiao Nani recuperate. While examining his pulse, she discovered various internal injuries from his past battles, and wanted to provide thorough care for him during this period. Meanwhile, Zhao Yong entered the palace. Emperor Qiming looked at Zhao Yong, who was kneeling on the ground with a complicated gaze. After a long silence, he finally said, You are the Prince of Huainan. After your father's death, you were supposed to inherit the title. However, I fear that once you marry and have children, the tragedy of your father might repeat. Hence, I've decided to grant you the title of Marquis of Huainan. And the title will not be hereditary. Thank you, Your Majesty. Regarding Emperor Qi Ming's decree, Zhao Yong showed no surprise. After hearing the emperor's words, he immediately knelt down to express his gratitude. Seeing that Zhao Yong's demeanor was unchanged, with no sign of dissatisfaction in his eyes, Emperor Qi Ming looked slightly more pleased. After a moment of thought, he addressed Zhao Yong. The Huainan queen might be your birth mother, but she dared to kill her husband, which is a heinous crime. Out of respect for the loyal legacy of the Chu family, one won't punish her. However, when you return home, confine her to a yard and do not let her out again. Yes. Rise. You may leave now. I will take my leave. After bowing to Emperor Qi Ming, Zhao Yong left the Qianqing palace. Upon leaving the palace, as Zhao Yong prepared to depart, someone approached him. Your Highness, the great Empress Dowager wishes to see you. In the Xinaying Palace. After hearing about the death of the King Huainan, the great Empress Dowager was promptly informed. Listening to the old nanny narration, the great Empress Dowager couldn't help but curse. He's such a waste to have died at the hands of a woman. The king's death is inconsequential, but King Qing is still alive and well. Hearing this, the great Empress Dowager's already sour expression deepened. Seeing the great Empress Dowager's displeasure, the old maid hurriedly spoke. Your Royal Majesty, it is said that Prince Zhao Yong is intelligent. With the King Huainan gone, you can fully utilize the prince to your advantage. Perhaps he is even smarter than his father. Now there's no other choice. Your Royal Majesty, Prince Zhao Yong has arrived. As the great Empress Dowager finished speaking, an eunuch's voice echoed from the entrance. Let him in. Subsequently, Zhao Yong approached the great Empress Dowager, kneeling down in deference. Greetings, Your Royal Majesty, the great Empress Dowager. What has the Emperor planned for the Huainan mansion now that your father has passed? The Emperor has conferred upon me the title of Marquis of Huainan. Upon hearing the great Empress Dowager's question, Zhao Yong briefly recounted the Emperor's decision. However, upon hearing the Emperor's arrangements, the great Empress Dowager couldn't help but frown. Seeing Zhao Yong's calm demeanor, she questioned. According to tradition, you should be the king of Huainan. Aren't you angry that the Emperor has stripped you of that title? In response to your Royal Majesty, I am truly grateful for the Emperor's decision. As Zhao Yong spoke, the great Empress Dowager observed him closely, noting his sincere and nonchalant expression, which pleased her further. Looking at Zhao Yong, she continued. Do you know that before his death, your father was working for me? Hearing this, a look of surprise appeared in Zhao Yong's eyes. His mind raced back to the time when his father attempted to assassinate Xiao Nani on the way to the western regions. He had assumed it was on the Emperor's orders, never suspecting that it might have been instigated by the great Empress Dowager. Seeing Zhao Yong's silence, she pressed on. You're an intelligent person. Surely you understand why I've summoned you today. Your servant is slow-witted. One seek the great Empress Dowager's clarification. Hearing his response, a shadow crossed the great Empress Dowager's eyes. But after a moment's pause, she stated directly, I have only one purpose in summoning you. I hope you will serve me. What does the great Empress Dowager command? My command to you is simple, kill Xiao Nani. Even though he had suspected as much, Zhao Yong couldn't conceal his shock upon hearing these words. As long as you can kill Xiao Nani, one can reinstate your title as the King of Huainan. So will you agree to serve me? Hearing the great Empress Dowager's words, Zhao Yong's initial instinct was to refuse. Chapter 304. Informing the plan of great Empress Dowager, but for some unknown reason he suddenly nodded, yes. Looking at the great Empress Dowager, Zhao Yong whispered, I dare not refuse the Empress Dowager's decree. You are indeed a smart person. Seeing Zhao Yong agree so readily, a satisfied look appeared in the great Empress Dowager's eyes. Half a tea time later, Zhao Yong left the Xinaying Palace. Prince, are we going straight back to the Huainan mansion? As they approached the palace gate, Zhao Yong's attendant asked him. Hearing this, Zhao Yong shook his head and whispered, to the general's mansion. When Zhao Yong entered the plum garden, Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan were brewing tea in the pavilion. The water used for the tea was snow collected by Yu air during a snowfall. When Zhao Yong was led into the pavilion, he saw Xiao Nani reading in a chair while Jiang Peihuan was preparing tea. Jiang Peihuan's sleeves were neatly tied up. Whether she was brewing or pouring tea, in her hands, it looked like a painting. Hearing footsteps, both Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani looked towards the pavilion entrance. Prince, you can go in by yourself. When Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan were together, made like Yu air, Lu air, and Yi Xiao wouldn't disturb them. When Yu air led Zhao Yong to the pavilion, she left. Zhao Yong then lifted the curtain and entered. Seeing him come in, Jiang Peihuan gestured to the seat opposite and said softly with a smile, "Prince Huainan, please have a sit." Hearing Jiang Peihuan's invitation, Zhao Yong sat down across from her. As he sat, Jiang Peihuan poured him a cup of tea. When she picked up the teacup, Zhao Yong quickly reached out to take it. When he took the teacup, Zhao Yong's hand accidentally touched Jiang Peihuan's fingertip. He reacted as if burnt and withdrew his hand quickly. The tea was spilled instantly. The boiling hot tea splashed everywhere. As the cup overturned, Xiao Nani quickly reached out and shielded Jiang Peihuan with his sleeve. "I'm sorry, I didn't hold it steady." Jiang Peihuan shook her head at Xiao Nani and then looked at Zhao Yong. "The tea was hot. Were you burned, Prince Huainan?" "I'm fine." Jiang Peihuan poured another cup of water for Zhao Yong. But before she could hand it to him, Xiao Nani had already taken it. Placing the teacup in front of Zhao Yong, he said softly, "Prince Huainan, try this tea." "Thank you." Zhao Yong took a sip and then looked at Xiao Nani. "The emperor has conferred upon me the title of Huainan Marquis. Also, I was summoned by the great Empress Dowager today." Zhao Yong briefly repeated what the emperor and he discussed, then continued, "Your Highness, the great Empress Dowager summoned me to plot against you." Hearing this, neither Xiao Nani nor Jiang Peihuan showed any signs of surprise. Seeing this, Zhao Yong chuckled. It seems the king and Queen Cheng were already aware. Hearing Zhao Yong's words, both of them nodded in acknowledgement. A moment later, Xiao Nani said to Zhao Yong, "Regardless, thank you, Prince Huainan, for bringing me this news. Prince, since the Empress Dowager has come to find you, she must see the results. How are you going to deal with the Empress Dowager? The Queen once accompanied the great general in battles. What do you think of the current situation in the northern border? You want to be stationed at the northern border?" As soon as Zhao Yong's voice fell, Jiang Peihuan spoke directly. Jiang Peihuan stated affirmatively, and seeing this, admiration flashed in Zhao Yong's eyes. The Queen is truly clever. Once I'm at the northern border, the great Empress Dowager will be powerless against me. But Queen Cheng, today, I came to seek a favor from you. Prince, please tell. If I can help, I want refuse. During this period of time, Zhao Yong had helped her a lot, so when Jiang Peihuan heard his words, she said directly. Meeting Jiang Peihuan's gaze, Zhao Yong whispered, "If I go to the northern border, there will be no one to care for my mother. I hope the Queen can look out for her." "All right." Jiang Peihuan agreed without hesitation. A moment later, Zhao Yong left the plum garden. After he left, Jiang Peihuan looked at Xiao Nani. "It seems the great Empress Dowager's tolerance towards you has reached its limit. If it wasn't for the threat I posed back then, she probably would have already sent assassins to the general's mansion." There was a mocking look in Xiao Nani's eyes as he spoke. After a brief silence, Jiang Peihuan asked, "Have you thought about telling Emperor Qiming about this? Although my imperial brother has been lenient with me, all this is because I'm the King Cheng of Qi Kingdom. Once he knows I'm not from the Xiao family, I fear he might be the first to kill me." Hearing this, Jiang Peihuan didn't know how to respond. She had witnessed the ruthlessness of the royal family in her past life. "Never mind, let's not talk about this. Tomorrow is the day your sister marries into the Chao family. As the elder sister, have you prepared a gift? I almost forgot if you didn't mention it." Jiang Peihuan had been so engrossed in the plum garden these days she had forgotten entirely. When Xiao Nani heard this, his eyes revealed a hint of helplessness. As Jiang Peihuan was pondering whether to visit Jiang Ruyin that night, Jiang Ruyin herself came to the plum garden. "Your Highness, elder sister?" Upon seeing Xiao Nani, Jiang Ruyin promptly greeted him. Although Xiao Nanye's attitude towards her had softened a lot, Jiang Ruyan still looked a little scared when she saw Xiao Nani. You guys can have a chat. Xiao Nani nodded to Jiang Ruyan, and then told Jiang Peihuan before heading straight to his study. With Xiao Nani gone, Jiang Ruyan noticeably relaxed. Facing Jiang Peihuan, she whispered, Elder sister, I came today to discuss something. What is it? Tomorrow is my wedding day. Mother has prepared many dowries for me to look respectable. But father disagrees. Jiang Ruyan continued when she saw the puzzled look on Jiang Peihuan's face. Father says he must leave some assets for my brother, and cannot let me take everything. Because of this, mother and father have been arguing for days. I really had no choice but to come to you for advice. Jiang Peihuan listened quietly as Jiang Ruyan spoke. Once she finished, Jiang Peihuan gently asked, And you? What do you think? If possible, one naturally hope for more dowry. After all, this will be my foothold in the Chow family. But father's salary is not high, and now that my brother is born, I naturally can't be that selfish. Chapter 305. Jiang Ruyan's marriage. So, I only plan to take half of the dowry my mother prepared for me. Upon hearing Jiang Ruyan's words, a hint of a smile appeared in Jiang Peihuan's eyes. Looking at her, Jiang Peihuan softly said, I'm glad you think this way. Since you've made up your mind, just go ahead with it. As for your uncle and aunt, discuss it well with them. One believe they will agree. Okay. Hearing Jiang Peihuan's words, Jiang Ruyan nodded. After exchanging a few words with Jiang Peihuan, she felt much more relaxed. Turning to Jiang Peihuan, Jiang Ruyan whispered, Elder sister, King Cheng is waiting for you. I won't disturb you any longer. I'll go find my parents. Having said this, Jiang Ruyan prepared to leave. However, just as she reached the door, she heard Jiang Peihuan's voice. Wait. Hearing Jiang Peihuan, Jiang Ruyan paused instinctively and turned around. She softly asked, Elder sister, is there anything else you'd like to tell me? Just wait for me. Jiang Peihuan then walked directly into the study. Xiao Nani was sitting in the study, holding a book that Jiang Peihuan had been reading earlier. He had overheard the conversation between the sisters. When he saw Jiang Peihuan enter, he put down the book. Approaching him, Jiang Peihuan took a box from the table in front of Xiao Nani. Inside the box was a silver note, which old Madame Jiang had once given her. She had forgotten to take it with her at that time. Turning to Xiao Nani, Jiang Peihuan softly asked, I plan to give this silver note to Ruyan. Xiao Nani, do you agree? Had it been earlier, she wouldn't have asked him. However, since they were now married, she wanted to consult him. Smiling, Xiao Nani replied, Of course, one have no objections. Not to mention that this is originally your dowry. Even if you wanted to give all the silver in the mansion as a dowry to your sister, one wouldn't mind. Jiang Peihuan smiled at his words. Knowing Jiang Ruyan was waiting, she didn't linger. Holding the box, she walked out. Standing next to Jiang Ruyan, she handed over the box. Seeing the box, Jiang Ruyan looked puzzled and whispered, Elder sister, what is this? It's an addition to your dowry. No, you already added to my dowry before. How can I take more of your money? Before Jiang Ruyan could refuse, Jiang Peihuan already pushed the box to her. If I'm giving it to you, just accept it. With this silver, it might be easier to convince your aunt and uncle. Initially, Jiang Ruyan wanted to decline, but after hearing Jiang Peihuan's last words, she silently accepted the money, gave a formal bow and whispered, Thank you, elder sister. It's getting late, you should go. Jiang Peihuan didn't know what Jiang Ruyan told her parents, but the next day, Zhou Rongfeng was finally seen smiling. Jiang Peihuan had also arrived at the orchid garden early. Jiang Ruyan was getting ready, with Zhou Rongfeng sitting beside her. Seeing Jiang Peihuan enter, Zhou Rongfeng, with joy in her eyes, grabbed Jiang Peihuan's hand. Huan one really don't know how to thank you. If it weren't for the money you gave, your sister's dowry would have been pitiful. At this point, gratitude filled Zhou Rongfeng's eyes. Jiang Peihuan had never liked Zhou Rongfeng in her previous life. However, in this life she realized that nobody is perfect. No matter what, Zhou Rongfang was a good mother. And after Jian Mai's death, Zhou Rongfang genuinely took care of the child. For this reason alone, Jiang Peihuan's aversion to Zhou Rongfang vanished. So when she heard her words, Jiang Peihuan gently said, "Second aunt, Ruyun and I are sisters. There's no need to keep a tally." Second sister-in-law? Just as Zhou Rongfang was about to speak, Lu Xiu entered the room. "Third sister-in-law, you're here." Regardless of their usual disagreements, on this occasion, Zhou Rongfang greeted Lu Xiu with a smile. Today is Ruyun's wedding day. Naturally, one should come to enhance her dowry. As she spoke, Lu Xiu personally took a box from old Madame Lu and handed it to Jiang Ruyun. "Second sister, this is my gift for your dowry. Open it and see if you like it." "Thank you, third aunt." Upon hearing Lu Xiu's words, Jiang Ruyun immediately opened the box. Inside it was filled with a collection of jewelry, gold, silver and jade items. Everything was of exquisite quality. Lu Xiu had given a similar box to Jiang Peihuan when she married Xiao Nani. Back then, Zhou Rongfang had reservations about Lu Xiu, especially since she hadn't gifted these when Jiang Ruyun originally married Zhao Fuqing. But now, seeing the jewelry, Zhou Rongfang's eyes were filled with complex emotions and a touch of shame. "Third sister-in-law, this is too precious. We are family, no need to be so formal." To show off a bit, as you know, the one thing I have plenty of is these items. The Liu's family were merchants serving the emperor, and were incredibly wealthy. Although Lu Xiu was married off, she was the only daughter of the Lu family, and she married into the general's mansion. Every year, her family would send her countless jewelry. "I won't stand on ceremony with you then," Zhou Rongfang softly responded. For Jiang Ruyun's wedding, everyone from the Jiang family returned. It was only at night that the Chao family came to pick up the bride. Just like with Xiao Nani, Chao Jun also faced challenges from the Jiang family. However, before the auspicious time, Jiang Changbai carried Jiang Ruyun to the bridal palanquin. "Chao Jun, I entrust my second younger sister to you. One hope you will take good care of her." Previously, Jiang Changbai didn't have a fondness for Jiang Ruyun. But lately he noticed her change. Being a part of the Jiang family, he became more protective of her. Upon hearing this, Chao Jun sincerely replied, "Rest assured, elder brother, one will definitely take good care of Ruyun." Then, the wedding procession began heading towards the Chao family. Everyone from the Jiang family smiled happily. However, their happiness was shattered an hour later. Eldest miss, second miss is in trouble. In the plum garden, just as Jiang Peihuan was about to lie down with Xiao Nani, she heard Lu Er's hurried voice. "You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure."